Yeah.
Hello. Yes. After 2 years, is it 2 years of this nonsense? The day
Feels like
has
2 ice ages, man. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, but it's finally here. Snow White has dropped. Snow White has dropped like a deuce, and we are here to review it.
This is some Rhea being dropped.
Like a shark.
You feel good after. You're like, I pooped. I feel good. I can battle the world. Here, you feel like you have to poop after watching it. It's the worst shit ever.
And unlike Jay,
vomit.
And unlike Jay, you need to wipe. So
That's right.
It's like the iceberg in front of the Titanic that Disney has seen for 2 years, and yet they still couldn't dodge the thing. It's hit them like
it's Austin Powers.
It is the world's most predictable disaster.
The one thing I wasn't expecting
many.
was the BBC to preach about how communist it was and despise it. It's like, this is too political for us.
I did not see that one coming.
No.
They called it a Marxist call to arms.
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
And I agree.
It included
Through the medium
phrase,
of apple pie, no less.
It included the phrase Snow White is rephrasing the Communist Manifesto.
She is. Oh, my Lord. We have a lot to talk about. But first, let's get to this episode's sponsor. There's going to be two, but one's me. So, free speech is under attack, but Rumble refuses to back down. We've always believed in empowering voices, no matter how unpopular, right, Jeremy? And now we're taking the fight to the next level. When major advertisers conspire to pull dollars, even brands like Dunkin' Donuts and Disney turn their backs, claiming Rumble has a right-wing culture. But we're not here to fit the mold. We're here to defend free expression. To strengthen the mission, we're excited to offer Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. You'll find exclusive content from creators like Russell Brand, Dr. Disrespect, Timcast, and Mug Club with Crowder. It's more than a subscription. It's a stand for free speech. Your voice matters. Join Rumble Premium for a limited time. You can get $20 off an annual plan using promo code Rumble Live. Claude,
you said advertisers.
Lumble? I think I heard
You didn't say advertisers. You said
This just reminded me
advertisers.
of open bar last night, man. I just could not get the words
I'm
out.
sober
Yeah.
for a very
What's your
limited,
excuse?
whatever. Rumble Live. Use Rumble Live as a code. Visit rumble.com/premium and claim your special sale discount today. Together, we can turn the tide. Whether you join Rumble Premium or simply keep watching, your support helps keep free speech alive.
There we go. Good job, Gary.
It is also about the 17th or 18th time you've read that exact same script.
He still can't get it.
Oh,
He
man.
still can't get it.
I have an excuse. I got Invisalign, dude. So I've got. So I've got this fucking shit covering my teeth right now, and you can't see it, but it's weird. So I'm getting used to it. So it's bad enough I can't read.
It feels more weird for you than it sounds for anyone else.
Okay.
Like everyone else is like not going to be able to tell a difference at all, but it fucks with your head.
Oh my God.
What the hell is it?
It's like braces.
Invisible braces.
Invisible braces.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's basically like
Yeah.
a plastic retainer that you put on your teeth.
Yeah, I don't have it on now because I'm drinking coffee. Because what they don't tell you is you can't eat anything with that thing on. So anytime you drink coffee or anything, you got to take them off, wash them, put them back on. That's a lot of things to remember for a burnout like me.
But it's better than having actual
Isn't that
braces.
one
though.
thing?
I can't believe that anyone would have to tell you that if you have plastic formers around your teeth, you shouldn't eat anything while they're in.
Why not?
I mean, you could try.
I could
On
pull
the
it
plus
off.
side, you're always ready for a fight now. Like you've got your own personal gun
Yep.
shield in all.
Let's
time.
go. Before we get started, I do want to mention that my book is coming out soon. We're waiting to hear from the publisher by Monday or Tuesday on like printing and all this stuff that you don't need to know about, and then we will give you more information. But it is done, and it looks like April, and maybe we'll have some copies at the meetup in Vegas. So yeah, but more info on that later. But first, I'd like to welcome the critical drinker. Well, love the enthusiasm.
It's good to be here, man.
Oh, thanks. I take it. When did you see it? Snow White.
This afternoon.
Sorry.
Fresh.
I tried so hard. I tried everything to sail the high seas for this one, and I could not find it anywhere. I was like, motherfucker, I'm gonna have to go to the actual movie theater to watch it.
We could have sent you a care package.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were looking in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Disney sent us a special screener for FNT. That's
Yeah.
how so many of us
They
are
love you
watching
guys so
on
much.
couches.
It's like we
Yeah.
can find our people here.
Yeah, they actually invited us to the premiere, but we couldn't make it. So we
Yeah.
would have been there.
I mean,
Yeah.
I can honestly say though, when I was there was like 3 other people in the theater with me, and one guy who was like 2 rows behind was literally coughing his lungs up for the entire movie. I'd say that was probably my most enjoyable aspect of the entire experience. Really.
The guy with tuberculosis and
Old black lung there in the back row.
oh my God. Yeah. So with 2 years of the most catastrophic public relations disaster, that was, quite frankly, unintentionally entertaining as hell. And more entertaining than this movie. I did not think it would surpass my lowered expectations, but it just flew down past them into the depths of the void. It is, I know some people out there are saying it's mid, it's fine. It is freaking
Bad. It's
awful.
fucking horrible.
It's pretty cringy.
It's particularly bad if you watch the original and then compare this to it. You know, like in terms of the pacing, the efficiency of the script. The original movie is like 82 minutes. It's crazy quick, right? But like it tells its story in the time that it needs.
And it earns the things, the relationships and the story and all of that. It earns it. And this movie earns nothing.
Well, this
the
movie
original-
is such a great example of trying to bend a story around your modern themes, but you bend it so hard that you break the thing because it doesn't work. The things they try to do. I mean, I'll perhaps wait until you guys want to get deeper into the story, but the entire ethos of what Snow White wants to stand for in this movie is completely undone by her actual actions, especially at the end. It is crazy how this movie contradicts itself.
It's
And
like
the-
Whiplash.
The original deals with some really simple themes, eternal truths that are basic about femininity and the classic, fairy tale concepts, right? And as a result, it works. It's a simple tale, but it really works. This remake undoes everything that the original was kind of implying and saying about itself to this woke narrative monstrosity, and it fails so dramatically on every single level with what they were intending.
Can I say one nice thing about it? Can I
No,
do that?
no,
It-
we're not
it-
allowed to
it
do this
ended?
around here. We're not allowed to do that. No.
I want it not, but never let it be said that the critical drinker doesn't give credit where credit's due, right? I will go ahead and I will say this. Rachel Zegler isn't the worst thing about this movie, right?
She's actually not.
She's not.
There's 2 things, right? She
not
can sing
good,
really
though.
well, which is we know she can sing, so that's expected. But she does well with the musical numbers. And 2, I actually don't think she gives a terrible performance. I think she does probably her best with the material she's given. Not great. But I think she does okay.
Dude, Drinker, I could.
The problem is the premise, right? It's the premise
exactly.
and the script and everything they try to do with it. But also, some of those things are like the reasons they cast Rachel Zegler in the first place. You know what I mean? Like why they wanted her to be Latina Snow White. Like, these are some of the reasons she was there. But I do think that she gives a fine performance with what she's supposed to.
I don't think she's worth the trouble that they put her through. Her performance doesn't stand out at all. Like at all. They should have recast
The
this.
Huntsman is really bad. Her trying to act afraid was cringe as fuck. And it did not
I think
promote
she
The
was
issue is
alright.
that she's a stage actress, and so the issue is that she's putting that same stage performance on film, and it just does not translate very well. So it's I don't think it's a bad performance; it's just not made for a movie.
She's not Snow White. She's not Snow White.
No, she's
No.
not. I think she gives a passable performance that I think any other, like a bunch of actresses could have pulled off this role way better than she did, but I didn't think she was terrible. What I will say, and it galls me to say this, Gal Gadot is probably the worst thing about this movie.
But she's also the best. I mean, like,
In some ways,
ironically, like you can enjoy her stuff, like how bad it is. You can actually get a good chuckle.
I didn't mind her like the acting part of it Because basically, it's a very that is a very one-dimensional role. Just act like an evil bitch, right? Just like very cold, whatever. The song, her song parts were really bad.
You could absolutely tell. I don't know whether they auto-tuned her voice or whether they just spliced someone else in, like, who can actually sing. But like, we know Gal Gadot cannot sing. We've all heard the Imagine video, and she's got like quite a crackly voice. That is not a singer's voice. Okay, so the moment she actually has to hit any notes, the voice completely changes, and it's so obvious. It's weird. Like, but I guess they just expect you to go with it.
Also,
and that's just it's an issue with Disney in general because they auto-tune every single voice in the movie, and it's kind of sad because Rachel Zegler can actually sing. It's like, why are you auto-tuning her voice? She actually can hit those notes, and she actually can sound, but it's just a part of the artificial nature of the entirety of the movie, including the songs.
So
but I've said before as well, like it takes actually a pretty competent actor to play a good villain in a Disney movie. You actually have to have quite a good range, and you have to have real charisma and presence to be able to play a nice, memorable villain and really like go for it. And I think this is just like the definitive proof. Gal Gadot absolutely doesn't have any of that. Like, she cannot do it. She's a block of wood. The best she can do is completely overact and chew up the scenery, but that's not the same as delivering a good, charismatic villain performance.
The villain herself didn't have any decent motivation. It seemed to be, if I'm beautiful, then I have power, so I need to remain the most beautiful. But then she was kind of going, I'm only doing this for your benefit because I want to lead you well. And they didn't really commit to her just being evil at any point.
The
only
fundamental
evil
problem
thing you saw was at the start when they were like, to prove that she was evil queen, she raised taxes and increased the powers of the state. And they're like, this is when we knew she'd gone too far.
This is the problem. Like, the movie tries to grapple with this, and it never gets over the fundamental problem that the evil queen is beautiful and the princess, like, Snow White, is ugly as fuck.
Yeah.
And they can't rationalize it.
Well,
so
trying to do both definitions, and then halfway through just go, it is actually beautiful.
Drinker. She's beautiful inside, which
yes.
They did say that.
She's not.
They do straight up say that.
They do
It's
say that,
yeah.
and that is the most impossible. Yeah. I can believe a CGI fucking bunny tap dancing more than I can believe Rachel Zegler's beautiful inside.
Well,
that's
again,
what I was
though,
gonna
like,
say.
gentlemen, just for any guys watching this going on a date, never ever say to your date, like, you're kind of ugly, but like, you seem like a nice person. You're beautiful on the inside. It doesn't go down well.
Believe me.
Also, don't take them to this movie.
Rachel Zegler, like Rachel, she can sing, but she's also Rachel Zegler, and seeing her trying to pretend to be this really kind-hearted character and person, that was pretty hard to suspend my disbelief on. It's like,
I agree. That's why. Go ahead, Disparu.
There seems to be parts of the movie. Well, I do think a lot of that stuff was toned down in this, because there are parts where she's an absolute cow, but then there's other parts where she's like, "No, I'm really caring and nice." And there's a bit of a weird personality.
It's like two different
change
movies.
It is.
She can't pull it off. Like, the character is supposed to be this genteel personality, and she just does not have that as a part of her. And that's why when they made the changes to the story, it's like, oh, clearly it's because y'all had a very specific intention of what you wanted the character to be, and it was not the original character at all.
You can always tell when it's those bits that have been reshot because her accent changes. It becomes this like fake kind of theatrical, almost English accent, like this sort of mid-Atlantic kind of thing. Whereas when she's just being herself, it's a much more like basic American accent, and that's when she's trying to give it a bit of sass and a bit of attitude. And
when you get when she sees Jonathan in the forest, right, and that's his song, and they're kind of going back and forth a little bit. Yeah. Like, it feels like that was supposed to probably be her tone for more of it, at least with their interactions with him, right?
I agree.
Who knows about everybody else? And in the same way, in the same manner that they presented so many of these things, when she was kind of callously talking about him and about how it's not that big of a part. Like I feel like that was the tone they were going for in the movie. She was rather dismissive and things like that. I 100% think that her being needed to be woken up by his kiss, I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the original version.
Yeah, that looked tagged on. It did.
Just because of the way they presented everything, and she's not going to be saved by the prince, and obviously he's not the prince. He's a bandit named Jonathan, but still, I feel like they may have put that back in because so many people were upset about the way they were portraying this movie. And what you end up with is it's not even really a shell of Snow White because so many different things are different. this shouldn't have been called Snow White. It should have just, if
No.
you wanted to tell the story, make it something else. Now, it wouldn't have the name recognition, probably wouldn't do very well, but there's no reason for this movie to be named Snow White.
Not at all. And it carves the heart out of it because of modernity. I mean, we could just like it's as Drinker said, it's the best example of everything wrong with Hollywood, and that's been kind of the what's matched that is the PR leading up to it has also been, especially Rachel Zegler, the poster child of everything wrong with modern Hollywood right now, and they were warning us this whole time like what this movie was going to be, and they weren't wrong. They actually they were pretty honest with us, and while I appreciate that, God. What a slog. I don't know who it's for. If you love your children, you wouldn't take them to this movie unless you want to like punish them for something. But then, you get on the precipice of getting Child Protective Services called on you because it's abuse.
Well, yeah.
Can I say?
Go ahead, Drinker.
I was going to say this is a great example, right, of mutually assured woke destruction. And the reason for that, right, is that on the one hand, they want to preach socialism. So, like Rachel Zegler's character, Snow White, all throughout the movie is talking about how people need to help each other. Everyone needs to give everything they have to each other and just trust that the other person is going to do the same to you. That's exactly what it is. It's like nobody should have more than anyone else. Everyone should share all their resources equally and so on. And everyone should help each other. Ironically, that's kind of the reciprocal theme of the first movie where she helps the dwarves and the dwarves ultimately help her by defeating the evil queen. But the other aspect of the woke message that they have to inject into this film is feminism, and that the princess, is going to save herself, and not just herself, but the entire kingdom by sorting everything out by herself. And so you get to the finale where the dwarves do absolutely nothing. The bandits, whatever the fuck they're ever meant to be, do absolutely nothing. They all just kind of stand there and watch as she takes control and defeats the queen single-handedly by remembering the guards around her names. And then the queen just storms off, smashes a mirror and explodes, and then that's the movie over, right? So you've got the theme of collectivism, which the movie desperately wants to preach, but also the individual strong female character who can defeat everything. And those two things are diametrically opposed to each other, but they don't seem to realize it. And the script constantly overwrites itself. It's so dumb.
Oh, it's bad. And also on top of that, like Snow White, she doesn't earn that payoff in terms of what she does. It's like, your name is this, and suddenly these evil henchmen that's been working for the evil queen for years flip on a dime and then join her side. And it was just like reality was warping to fulfill the whims of this petulant, entitled child that just says, I want you to serve me now and do the right thing. And then they do. Because and none of it was earned. She just walks into town, a town that she hasn't been seen for so many years that no one's supposed to remember what she even looks like. Suddenly everyone does now. And then they all join her side because that's just what she wants.
The crazy part is it's only been like 8 years. Like, it's only been 8 years, and it's like everyone's forgotten what kind.
I know.
Well, she got a haircut. Okay, she got a haircut.
Can you imagine
hilarious.
if Gary's life and the entire future of a kingdom depended on his ability to recall 4 people's names? He would be
screwed. He'd be doomed.
But they do actually say at one point that the land belongs to anyone who works it. This is what the BBC meant by rephrasing the Communist Manifesto.
First lines of the movie mentions that stuff.
But what you have what would normally be a male story of like leading a revolution against a kingdom, which would be an armed revolt. So you'd lead all these people in with armed guards, you'd have a massive fight, blood in the streets. And then you match that with sort of the more feminine story of like Captain Marvel. There's even a song about it where, am I the girl I always want to be? Is she inside me? Do I just need... It's essentially, I need to realize the power that I already have in myself. Then everyone else needs to realize that I've always been this powerful. And then I'll be really powerful. And that's the end. Just by her existing solves the world's problems.
Yeah, my parents told me that I was fearless, brave, strong, and true, or whatever. And I need to realize that I am that girl that they told me I was when I was 5.
But the irony of all this, right, is the original movie actually exemplified these ideas way better. Where, Snow White is rescued by the dwarves, so she is being given shelter and food by them. And she, in return, helps them. She cleans their house and she's like turns it into some place that's like much more enjoyable to be around. And so they develop loyalty towards her. It's a reciprocal relationship. I do something for you, you do something for me. And ultimately, they all redeem themselves by battling the evil queen at the end and defeating her. Okay, that teaches you that if you help other people, they will help you in return. This movie tries to do like the fake AstroTurf Hollywood version of that and completely fucks it up. Of course it does.
Well, the difference is the original movie has reciprocity, where this one basically has communism. And the other lie of the movie is that communism can be implemented through a bloodless coup, which is not the truth. That's not reality. It's never happened.
It's because everything that she could provide for them that could be reciprocated is I'll fix my camera.
Disparu, brought to you by El Gato.
Everything that could be my camera overheated. Everything that could be sort of reciprocated by it is a gender role. So in the first film, she's like, "Well, when I come around to your house, I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll do this, I'll keep house for you." Well, they can't do any of that. So she ends up walking around the house, bossing them around.
Yeah,
your house is too dirty.
turns into Mary Poppins.
Clean it, you peasants.
It's everything is even in the beginning. I don't know if anybody talked about this. Sorry if they did. But when they're introducing the king and the queen, they go, the queen and the king. And, and it's like,
of course.
That was deliberate. And it's just little shit like that all over the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's really
spelling it out.
interesting because the Snow White in the original, she earns everyone's help by her just innate feminine goodness. She acts like a woman who's willing to fulfill the woman roles, and that earns people's love, affection, and protection. And it's a classic damsel in distress story where it's through her femininity that she earns that protection. That's toxic to the modern mindset.
She's
and
sweet, and she gives them all I watched the original. She gives them all kisses on their heads before they go to work in the morning. Even and they all line up, and Dopey lines up. He tries to get multiple kisses, and then she even gives Grumpy a kiss on the head, and it actually melts him. And it's like what you're saying. It's her feminine power, and she's like, "Oh,
bashful is actually bashful." Doc, Doc, the way he talks wrong, basically. That's not in the movie at all. Dopey looks like. Sorry to give away a joke for my video, but Dopey looks like a cross between that kid from the Galactic Star Cruiser video or John Campea. I can't decide. One of the two.
There was something eerily familiar about his face.
Listen, the dwarves being CG is the biggest crime in its entire movie.
Totally.
Abomination.
And it gave me vibes of the Polar Express, and it freaked me the fuck out.
For me, it was MODOK.
That is a horror movie.
Yeah, Odin's right. It's MODOK.
MODOK is like, oh man.
But to be fair, Rachel Zegler has Uncanny Valley too. So
a habit of singing with her jaw 5 foot in front of her face. It's a really
it's the eyes, man. I don't know if it's the widescreen at my cinema, but honestly, those eyes are in different fucking time. They're in different time zones.
Going back to what Chrissy was saying there, the original film really shows and demonstrates the power that is in traditional feminine roles, and that it is a power, and when used, it can achieve some, great things. It can also end up.
It actually says that. Just to add, there's a line in the original movie where it says, "She will bewitch you with her feminine wiles." And what are those?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, but I don't like them.
And Grumpy's like, "Be careful, these women, these bitches, they're gonna get you."
Yeah. Oh, that's my favorite line in the movie. Oh, how many people watched the original beforehand?
I did.
Not beforehand. It's been a long time since I watched it.
I watched it after.
I watched it right before.
When I was 5.
Dude, that was the last time I watched it. So it was 5 or 6, and it went in the theaters. So 100 years ago is the last time I saw this movie, and I watched it yesterday. And it's an animation marvel. It's it's great. It's
one of the
delightful.
It's one of the great films of all time. With what it accomplished and what it pushed forward.
It was a paradigm shift in Hollywood. It created Disney, but it also fundamentally changed Hollywood. And this movie will be the only thing that's going to be remembered from this movie is the backlash and horrible CGI dwarves. Which
I feel like this movie is going to be like Solo, a Star Wars story.
It's going to lose money
completely. It will lose money, and it will be forgotten completely. It will go away, and it will just not be discussed.
Did it feel to you guys like there were so many reshoots, there were so many cuts, they put so much time into fixing this movie, but it still felt like it was done on an all-nighter. It felt like it was kind of slapped together at the last minute. It just felt
I feel like the ending was completely changed. I don't know if they had some bigger set piece in mind, but what they put in there is so anticlimactic. It just feels like the sort of thing they threw in at the last minute because they couldn't think what to do.
Yeah,
because it still felt to me
the
dwarves were never meant to be in it. Because if you cut them out the entire movie, nothing changes.
The bandits were never meant to be in it. That's the problem.
No,
I think
that's
groups
wrong.
that
The bandits were in it the entire time. For
Well, I
3
know
years
they
ago,
were. I know they were in it
dwarves.
since the beginning, and that's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
what we've seen, like from the behind the scenes pictures and stuff. I just mean like in terms of the writing of it, the actual script, and what they actually do in the story. They do nothing. Like
They do
shouldn't
nothing.
Be there.
They check boxes. That's
I
all
wish
they do.
Richard-
Pretty much.
But you know what they
So
could.
many
You,
scripts
you know what they could have.
Jonathan's the only one of them who does anything, and most of that involves getting captured and having to be saved by someone
Yep.
else.
They
so-
play the
so-
same scene twice in like within 70
I
minutes
know.
of screen time, basically, of him getting pulled over in front of the queen because he got captured
So-
again.
You know what they could have done at the end? I don't know. Use the ending of Snow White. Have the dwarves chase the witch up the mountain, and the rock falls on her, and then the buzzers of vultures go down and eat her.
I would have
The
liked
ending comes out of nowhere.
I would have liked the original ending of like
Oh.
the Snow White Brothers Grimm, which is where they
The shoes, right?
basically take iron and heat it up and make it into shoes, and they make her stand in those shoes and dance until she dies of exhaustion.
Hey,
That's how the original
hey,
fairy tale
the best bit in the Grimm
Fairy
fairy
tales did back in the day,
Dude,
don't fuck
in
around.
the Grimm
metal,
Not.
man.
in the Grimm
And
in
also,
the
Snow White's
in-
really
in-
dumb in the story.
in the Grimm fairy tale, Snow White surpasses the evil stepmother's beauty at the age of 7.
Well, people are
Well, it's nice to know that's not confined to Hollywood then. Eh?
Hey, Disney,
Listen, we're stepping
Disney.
it up, and society steps up. All right, I think Snow White in
14.
She's like 14 or 15 in the Disney one.
Yeah, she's
The
14.
original Disney one. So we're
And that's when she
stepping it up
surpasses the beauty. I correct me if I'm wrong. It's at the point where she turns 14 or has a wish to find a good man. But in this movie, in the 2025 version, it's when she frees the potato thief and becomes socially aware. When she becomes socially aware, she's like, that's when she
Nothing matters. There's no
Yeah.
stakes. The very like for people who saw the original Snow White, and like I suggest like people just rent it. It's like $4. But the first thing out of Snow White's mouth is she's talking about when am I gonna meet the love of my life? Like when am I gonna like get that
find a
seed?
dude.
Yeah. when am I gonna meet a man?
And
I like the replacement of the songs came from
Yeah.
Oh.
the original song of Singing Down the Well to her literally going echo, echo, echo,
Echo, yeah.
repeatedly down
No,
the
so
well.
I can hear my own voice. So for empowerment, instead of I need a good man. That's it. Like, and the wishing well scene's kind of like classic, right? It's like one of the best shots in Snow White is when they're looking up through the water. I'm talking about the original. When they're looking up through the water,
Yeah.
and it's so well animated. It's crazy how good that is, and it was made by hand in 1937
I mean,
by
They
men.
developed new technology to pull it off. Like I was watching a documentary on it where they layered the levels of the animation to give it depth to make it look like you
Yep.
can enter into this thing.
Wow.
Like it was massively innovative. Now we were just talking about the conclusion, how the finale of this remake is just pathetic, and she just given to her on a platter. The dwarves do nothing, the bandits do nothing, and I find it really interesting to compare it to the original, where the dwarves are the ones that kill the witch. They chase her up the mountain, so they're absolutely fundamental and essential in defeating the witch. But also, what's really interesting is the evil queen ends up being destroyed by her own hatred, where her constant attempts to try and kill people is what leads her to her death. And literally at the very end, she's trying to knock down a boulder to kill the dwarves, and it's that action that puts her in the position at the end of the cliff where the lightning hits and she falls down, and she's undone by her own evil. And that is a very interesting and poetic kind of depiction of being destroyed by your own evil actions, where in this one she just runs away and hits a mirror and then dies for no reason.
Yeah.
It's like Doctor Strange mom. She kind of self-deletes herself. By accident.
I wish
This
we
was
had
100%
some understanding
done
of.
later.
Yeah, I wish we had some understanding of. Maybe I missed one line or something early on, but I wish we had some understanding of why she shattered it and all of a sudden became a big thing of charcoal and died. Like
Got sucked into the
Pushed
mirror.
back into the mirror. Yeah.
She went blackface, so that was pretty cool.
Like
From
there
the
are some
original-
versions of that old ass fairy tale where like the mirror does consume her effectively after Snow White defeats her.
Can we give a shout out to the magic mirror? Probably the only somewhat consistent character from the original.
The mirror was cool. I like the mirror.
Yeah.
I
In
just-
the
yeah,
original
Gal Gadot-
animation, she does refer to it as like a slave.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
you could argue that it's the mirror attacking her in some way. But to Shad's point, it is a different reality in the fact that in the animated thing, the dwarves are chasing her because they think you've just killed their friend. And so we're going to kill you. And they're chasing her with axes and pickaxes and stuff.
They got
you all know
clubs
what they're
and
going to do.
rocks.
Whereas in this, she gets a dagger and puts it to her own heart. And she's like, I'm not going to do anything. No, shove. That would be the correct just thing.
Yeah.
She's killed your father. She's wiped out your family and she's ruined the kingdom. Shove. That is the just action. Like, no, that would make you the bad guy.
That whole standoff just doesn't make any sense. And then she's got Snow White and knife point, and she's like, well, I could kill her myself, but no, I'm going to have one of my guards do it instead. And it's just so drawn out. And like, I feel like it was building up to something that doesn't actually happen. It's such a weird anticlimactic confrontation.
It does feel like there's a lot of different versions of this movie all shoved into one. There's a lot of different, like, wasn't there like several scripts of this movie that were passed around? And then, of course,
Greta Gerwig, right?
I don't. So Greta Gerwig is a writer on this, by the way. Yes, I don't know how many versions of the script, but like, think about this. This movie had been filmed and like done filming, and they were in the UK for reshoots in May or whatever of 2023 when the actors' strike happened.
Yep.
Both Gal and Rachel were there for reshoots when the actors' strike happened. And so they didn't do any of these real reshoots before all of the backlash that followed that. Because then some of those things leaked from right before they had to stop reshoots where they were doing the pickup shots with the bandits and with the doubles for Snow White and Jonathan. And what we now know, the line that was supposed to be the dwarves that were behind Snow White. And so they were supposed to do reshoots. Those got pushed off for 6 fucking months at least. Who knows what they could have changed? Like after all the backlash, after people hating on Rachel Zegler, after all this nonsense, who knows what the movie ended up with? Because I think there's a lot of things in there that feels like they tried to soften the blowback.
But what this feels like is that it feels like the original didn't have the dwarves at all, and it was the bandits that were replacing the dwarves. There are 7 bandits with one little person.
That's just not true, though.
Is it?
From the
feels
beginning,
like that.
It's not true. Now we even have actors who auditioned and some who got cast as the motion capture for the dwarves that have their audition videos from over 3 years ago that are up there. This was always meant to be the case for the dwarves. Those bandits, the reason this all happened is because the Daily Mail came out, they saw 7 people, assumed it was dwarves, and rightly so, why not? And that story blew up out of proportion. However, all the actors that were there, they've been posting about being the bandits, even on social media, before that picture fucking leaked.
I think
consistently.
I think
it's a bullshit story that got completely blown out of proportion and emphasized by some people who are saying they have insiders when they don't have insiders. The dwarves were always meant to be CGI. Now, the one thing I don't know is whether Peter Dinklage's comments had anything to do with why that happened. That's the one thing we don't know.
A lot of actors feel like they do.
Yeah, like it feels like it, but we don't know if they had planned that before or after he said that. Because remember, that's when they came out and said, we intend for the dwarves to be portrayed as magical creatures.
Right.
They said that in like 2021, 2022.
And they're not going to use the word dwarves.
Portland baristas don't look like, and what we now know are the bandits, don't look like magical creatures. The dwarves, you could look at that and be like, I see where they're going with their magical creatures bullshit.
Ultimately, some actors' potential casting came up short.
Thank
you.
What's interesting is that right now we don't have an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which is weird. I don't know why the audience score has not populated. Over on Metacritic,
we know why.
Well, yeah,
we know why.
Metacritic score is bad enough, man.
Metacritic, the audience score is a 1.1 out of 10.
Woo!
And on Criticlist, it's a 13%.
Heinous.
Okay.
Score.
Wait. 13%.
Google, which is Google is
Criticalist
1.4,
needs to
and
explain that
IMDb is
13%.
So that's just 13. Yeah, well, I mean, I gave it a 10. So I mean, but
10 out of 10.
Because Gal Gadot's hot, even though she's terrible in the fucking movie.
She's so bad.
She's
terrible
awful.
singer.
She's the worst part of the movie.
She's so flat.
But I am interested to see why this. I'd be interested. I can't wait for the tomato meter to drop on Rotten Tomatoes at the audience score because it's going to be really fucking bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
With what you were saying, Ryan, that that makes it so much worse in my mind, because
Yeah.
if they made this film just with the bandits and then they had to shoehorn in the dwarves, that would explain how disconnected it feels. It almost looks like they feel like it's a separate film with her with the bandits. She went to the forest, met the bandits. I don't know. We'll have her go off with the dwarves first and then just ditch the dwarves and go to the bandits, have this separate thing with the bandits. It feels so disconnected that if they had to force it back in after the fact with reshoots,
it could almost seem like a good excuse, right?
Yes,
Yes.
that's what I mean. It's not like they planned it that way from the beginning.
They 100% though they cut out bandit stuff because only the dwarf talks, except for one of them with one line. So there was. All of these people and not give them lines otherwise.
I wasn't.
Did cut out a lot of them.
I don't know if all the bandits had a line. I think like maybe a couple of them.
There's like only the dwarf and one of the women with the hair.
I think the
One
stuff
of the black women and the dude who's dating the black woman.
Yeah,
I think he had a line. He was like, "Bye," or something.
Might have missed that
Cut,
one
Fiend.
word.
You are an artist.
You remember when the news came out about Jonathan and the description of the character of Jonathan? Well before they even like any of these set leaks or whatever, because it was, hey, we found out that the prince is going to be replaced by Jonathan, leader of the bandits.
Yes.
Like that was the whole thing. So I know people like love to run with that first thing that blew up, but it's simply not true. And
if you want to run with something, run with the fact that it does feel like Jonathan's kiss at the end was shoehorned in. That's the one thing I think they added, and I think they fundamentally changed his story.
And because of where it happens too, like that is where most people's minds are like, oh, that's the end of the story. That's where it ends. But then it's like, oh, there's still 20, 30 minutes left of this movie. What the hell is going on? And so it makes it feel even more jarring because people again are going in with those preconceived notions of, I thought I was coming to see Snow White. Oh, clearly I'm not.
And the end, doesn't the end scene feel like a wedding? They're all in white.
Yeah,
No,
it
I
does.
assumed it was.
Yeah,
It
a good
does
point.
feel like that.
They're
I don't
just
know if that's-
dancing.
Just everyone's dancing. Everyone in the town.
white
It was a
garments?
white party. It was like a white party.
I'm surprised.
It was a Jay-Z party.
I'm surprised they didn't wake Snow White up with like a head bump. You know, like they've been doing that. They did that in Furiosa and Acolyte. They didn't want people kissing, so they have them bump heads.
Maybe Dopey was supposed to first talk then.
Maybe.
Oh.
I would have loved if that.
Dopey was the most nightmarish one of them all, dude. Like
I fucking
by
hated
far.
it.
Doesn't
In
mean
that
he's a
first
dope, though.
scene when the dwarves walk in on her or whatever, and Dopey gets locked in, and they have their little thing, and she goes there. She's like, "You don't speak." It's like, I was begging, hoping, pleading that the next line would be, "Are you retarded?"
But no, that's ableist. They like Dopey's not Dopey anymore because making fun of a comic relief character who's stupid, that's just too, and so now it's just misunderstood.
He's a bullied person.
Yeah,
Same
I
with
think we're
Grumpy.
2 seconds away from calling him
he's misunderstood
neurodivergent.
because people don't listen to him.
But they lost all his charm. Dopey was funny as a result. He was a cool, fun, interesting, enjoyable character because he was so silly. But that's just too problematic.
And part of what
Gary,
makes
can
Snow
you
White.
imagine? Sorry, go ahead, Chrissy.
Part of what makes Snow White so sweet in the original is like she comes upon the house and she's like, oh, there are children living here, and then she finds out they're men, and then she just treats them like little men, and she like charms them and like again like cleans, and she's like, oh, I'll keep house for you, and she lists all the things she's gonna do. She's like, I can cook, and then just like real men, they're like, cook, you can cook, and it was like it's so sweet. I'm like, she's charming these men like the way you would charm like a regular full size man. You know, she's not belittle them.
The modern day version of that would be basically she's like Bonnie Blue and just goes in there and sucks them all off.
Those films have already been made.
Yeah, they've been made a lot.
I was gonna say, Gary,
Arguably better plots as well.
What was that?
Could you imagine being on
Acting.
LSD or something and watching the Hi Ho song sequence with all the fucking rocks glowing and all that shit?
Dude,
You might actually enjoy it.
no, I would not enjoy it. I would sober up quickly. Like that.
Maybe she should have treated him like Mike Tyson treats little people. You remember that clip where he picks up old boy that's like a 30-year-old dude or whatever, thought he was a baby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He thought it was a little kid. He's like bouncing him on his knee.
he like grabs him and like kisses him on his neck.
What the fuck is his name?
Cocaine's a hell of a
I can't
drug.
remember. Who's that guy? Starts with an H.
It was just so
Who's not-
unbelievable that Snow White is going to be the ruler of this village or town or whatever. I'm like, there's no regular grown ass men in this town that could be like, no, you know what? I'm just, I'm a regular dude, and I would do a better
Well,
job.
did you see it
leading.
was all women practically,
Yeah.
except for like one or two
X-ray
dudes.
girl, could you find that BBC article? So Disparu brought it up, and in the BBC article they mentioned this is like contradicting narratives that like just clash. So with the whole like communist utopia that they keep talking about, but it still has like a king and a queen, benevolent leaders. So the whole
They
theme
own
of
the land.
they own the land, but they're still poor people. Like I don't know, they get their messaging mixed up, but like the whole thing is like it's my destiny to lead. It's not my destiny to find true love. It's my destiny to lead this communist utopia, which I am totally the queen of. But everything belongs to you except I'm the leader. Like what the fuck?
And her dream of becoming the leader, right, was like she has no reason to want that apart from entitlement. She shows no leadership skills at all. Quite the reverse. Her plan to fix the problems of the kingdom is to make them apple pie. And it's like smart move there. Yeah, that's really. And so when she does become a leader, it's a payoff that's completely robbed. She hasn't earned it. We don't want her to be it in particular, and so we don't care.
And they turn it into an I Am Spartacus moment. Like
Yes.
the amount of movies they borrow from in this is truly insane. Like how
the town doesn't need a leader. Like they're just a communist utopia. Like no one really needs to lead. Period. Like
Right.
that's the way
Everyone
it's presented.
shares.
About the apple pie, there is a scene earlier where she goes to the queen, and you think this scene is about her asking for other people to get stuff. But she starts talking about how apple pie can save you because having something sweet makes you feel like you're doing more than surviving. But she ends it with, I think I need to feel some kindness. She's talking about herself. She's saying, I want apple pie, not that other people should.
Well, she's singing about herself in the third person too, which is always kind of weird. Instead of like, I need a man, it's like, I need to lead. I want to be a boss. So film review.
Core member made a fucking crazy video of me singing.
I saw
song.
that.
I love it.
Core member hates us. Okay, I just
I sound good singing it, man. Like it looks horrific, but I sound good.
whatever.
That's the best part of. Like I said, man, all of our haters call us like racist and sexist. It's like just call us gay. That's worse than racist. Sexist.
Yeah. Core member like has me
our
singing
fans
Bon
do it,
Jovi, dude. What the fuck?
Like,
Fucking asshole.
our own supporters hate us more than our haters, do,
Right?
So.
Okay, this is from the BBC, by the way. The bastion of the free market, and film
Capitalist.
and yes, big time. Obvious right-wing blog. Film review. Disney's Snow White has a major identity crisis. Now scroll up a little bit. I want to get to up a little more. Look for the word Marxist. God, I need to take control of these articles.
The chat for like an hour has been saying your mic volume is loud, Gary. I don't know if you've worked on that or not. So I didn't know if you
check.
They keep saying it. So
hang on a second.
you weren't loud for us. You weren't loud for us.
Yeah,
It's too loud. It's too quiet.
Well, we got a really professional operation here, everyone. So thank you for tuning in.
One of the best lines was actually by the character Doc when he calls out the bandits, saying like, "Oh, they're just pretending," and it's because they fell apart to a greedy economic policy.
Oh yeah, they
He says greedy economic policy.
They're out of work actors as well. It's just so.
Is he even a real doctor? Where's his,
No, they even make a joke about
where'd
it
he
in
go
the
to
fucking
school?
movie.
It actually was like one of the dumbest things that happened when he came out and he's talking about all the things he tried to do as if he was like drilling rocks or fucking mining or whatever. And Jonathan just walks out and they just have one little shot of Doc and he's like, I thought he was dead. Like it made me laugh just how stupidly it was presented.
But you're right. It was stupid though because he didn't earn. Like he has no reason to be able to save Jonathan's life. One, I don't know why he's on death's door with an arrow shot in the shoulder. But that's going to kill him. And then Doc has no, reason or knowledge to be able to save him, but then he does through stupidity.
There were a couple of moments like that I thought could have been like legitimately I'd have a chuckle at or something if it had been if it had been executed a little bit better, like Jonathan's line where he's introducing himself. I'm Jonathan, princess. But it just like stays on him and doesn't go anywhere for a long time. The camera stays on him and he's like, well, princess is not my last name. But my first name is Jonathan. Princess. Like, that's where they I feel like that could have been okay and kind of charming and make me chuckle or whatever, but it was executed so poorly that it didn't work at all.
So here's
the
what
whole thing as well. Like that should have happened way later in the story. Like that happens. He's willing to take an arrow for Snow White literally like 2 minutes after meeting her. It's way too early.
Like in theory, it was right after she came back to try to save them or whatever with the animals and all that shit.
Yeah.
But you're right. It just goes boom, boom. Like
their entire love story. There's nothing between them at all. And then they're at the dwarf's house, and suddenly they're singing about how they're in love together, and this is the best thing we've ever felt. And there's no reason for it.
Nothing is earned in this movie. Nothing. Not one single story or relationship is earned. It's all supposed to be because you know the story of Snow White, and you just have to accept the things that's going to happen. Although we don't actually care about Snow White, and we're going to disrespect everything that it stood for. But everything that we do in this movie, you need to know about it because of the original Snow White. You have to
nothing more than a vapid skin suit is what this movie is.
It's so fucking bad.
Hey, real quick. How's my mic now?
How's your what?
How's my mic now?
Mike.
Mike.
Voice, and then he said Mike.
I mean, it always sounded good for us. It was about how the audience was hearing you.
I'm checking the audio now, so yeah, keep an eye on that X-ray girl. The levels.
Okay, everybody says it sounds
good.
Sounds pretty good.
Sounds good. Yes.
All right.
So in the original animation, that you get away with it, Prince, because he turns up immediately, and so you assume there's a backstory that you didn't see. And so he doesn't need to be in the movie much. He's just there at the beginning and the end, and you just make your own story up for it.
There's actually multiple hints that they likely knew each other before then. You know, she's specifically singing about the prince that's going to come to save her. Why prince, if not why handsome butcher or something like that? And no, but seriously,
he's got a big sausage.
even in behind the scenes stuff, I think that it's been revealed by Disney himself that there were previous things with the prince, but they had to cut it because of budget. But they knew each other beforehand, and like her running away was embarrassment that she was in rags, not that she didn't know him.
Yeah, it was cute.
They had a relationship already, and there's a great message in that where the prince starts singing to her that he loves her even in rags, that he'll accept her even if she's a peasant or a prince,
as long as she's
princess.
rich.
I mean, but no, like that. The message of that first opening is that he will love her no matter what, even in those rags. And she looks down at her dress and fixes her hair, and then she comes out. And so there's actually a lot of subtle kind of important storytelling that's going on, even in the original, that establishes their relationship.
Yeah.
Quite
So back to the contradictions within this story. This again is from the BBC. What's so unique about Disney's Snow White is that it seems as if some of the producers wanted to make an old-fashioned tribute to a feudal fairy tale, and the others wanted to make a revisionist Marxist call to arms.
That's accurate.
It is. Yeah. Rather than setting on one option or the other, the producers apparently compromised by making both versions at once. So the results are like a mind-boggling mashup of two different films.
Yeah,
that's accurate.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God, the BBC hitting the nail on the head. What the hell?
What's going on?
Well, if you go through the reviews, most people seem to agree with this. You only end up with two camps: the ones that hate it for the messaging, and the ones that like it a bit but think the messaging doesn't go far enough.
Well, isn't that the thing?
Yeah, I'd rather see the full communist. Like, I would like to see the version that they like initially tried to.
You can tell like, they were desperate to make that. If they thought they could get away with it by any stretch, they would have done it.
Snow Gray.
I would have loved the full communist version, where in the beginning everyone's just happy living in this communist utopia, and then all of a sudden everyone's going hungry, everyone's fucking dying, and Snow White's father's actually assassinated by political.
He's killing people with glasses.
Starving to death.
Yeah, anybody who wears glasses gets executed. You know, just like real communists.
I would honestly
so
like
red.
ending to be like that, where it's like she brings about what she thinks is going to be the communist utopia, and then you see it's this horrifying nightmare world where the dwarves are like, "Can we have an extra ration of bread?" She's like, "No, back to the mines with you."
All
They're
the
blaming
animals
the
are just locusts eating the food.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
they're blaming the evil queen for making everything wrong, and she's like, "No, I just kept the same policies, and this is the natural result. Don't blame me."
Well, remember the focus on
giving those jewels to the queen, like.
Okay, that's the question I had. I was confused. Is like, were the dwarves working for the queen or not?
No.
No, they
It
just
doesn't
seem
seem
to be
like it at
working for
all. So my
themselves.
question is, what the fuck are they doing? Just jerking
didn't
off with all
explain
those
it.
gems?
They didn't explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they act as well as if they're under time pressure. Like there's one point like a whistle goes off in the background somewhere, and it's like, we're late for work.
It's
What
like
the
what's
fuck are you just
motiving
work for
this?
yourselves?
I know.
Yeah.
And
They're
all you do is
entrepreneurs.
mine jewels that you don't do anything with. Like, who even cares if you go to work?
I have so many. If they sold them, it would crash the economy anyway. The jewels would be worth nothing.
There's crazy amounts. Now there is a lot in the original animation, but the animation kind of plays it off that they just like digging.
Well, they're dwarves.
They're dwarves.
Yeah, what else are they gonna do?
Dig.
They like to dig things. Well, okay. Men, to be fair, we like to dig stuff too. It's cool, okay?
If they don't
Fuck
go to
off.
work, they're all going to be trying to
They
fuck
just come
Snow
back with
White.
sticks.
So they need to go to work.
Well, I think the secret to this film is they were all retarded, not just dopey. So there you go. And the people who made the movie, the people who
I
decided.
have the deleted scene right there in the private chat from Snow White. So it's a deleted scene that they would have, if they would have added, it would have made at least $100 million more dollars. So I don't know is QBG like dead?
QBG is on assignment today, so X-Ray
Okay.
Girl's pulling double duty.
So here's the deleted scene right here.
Oh my god.
So how old is this guy in reality?
Like 30 or 40.
Have you seen the clip of Mike Tyson talking about this?
So cute.
I remember seeing it a while back. He had no idea.
He's like, I thought he was a kid. I didn't know he was 40 years old.
Aw. He's like, no, I got your ear.
He just thinks he's. I mean, he looks like a little kid. But yeah,
Yeah.
Kisses him on his ear.
How?
He's like
Take a
freaking
bite.
out. Like, oh no, this is how Holyfield went down. I think you're all.
He's got little sneakers and everything.
He's what? So
Adorable.
he was he was 22 when that happened. Is that somebody in the chat?
Dang.
Well,
said
that's a
that.
big
yeah.
difference.
So
That
that's
makes it
not- yeah.
okay.
he's got that fucking disease. He looks all fucked up and shit forever. So like,
It's, it's like a reverse Benjamin Button.
You know, we were
Which-
talking
wait.
about.
That would be a normal person, a reverse.
It's aging normally.
We were talking about how bad Gal Gadot is in this film, and she's very bad.
It's Gal
bad.
Gadot.
Gal
Gadot.
Gadot.
I say Gadot.
Gadot.
I say
Gadot.
Gadot.
Yeah, I've heard you say
Gadot.
Gadot in
This is
interviews.
America. It's good. Okay.
Gadot.
So, look at us go.
And yeah, she's bad. She struggles with acting, but that musical number. Let's just emphasize how bad that musical number really was, because not only was it cringe and she's bad at singing, right? It also undermined the presence that the evil queen needed. This imperious, unapproachable, evil, judgmental kind of figure, right? Having her dance around like this goof just makes her come off like an idiot. It undermines any type of serious kind of intimidation that she's supposed to maintain. It ruins it.
It's like they were trying to go for almost like an Ursula from the Little Mermaid kind of persona, like almost
It's what it felt
sensual,
like.
very like vampish. Like
Yeah.
that's what they were trying, but that's not really in keeping with her character.
Oh yeah, and it's not to say you can't have a musical number with a villain. I think of the one in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Is it Richelieu, Ricardo Richelieu, like that musical number where he's singing at the fire?
Hellfire, dude.
Like Hellfire, like holy crap, that thing
the
goes
best villain song ever. One of the best.
Scar in Lion King. That's one of the best songs.
Yep, and so musical numbers can actually enhance the evil and reveal aspects of these evil characters really well. Like it reveals Richelieu's motivation, that he's actually trying to resist temptation of being attracted to Esmeralda, and he thinks that she's this evil temptress Jezebel that needs to be burnt at the stake for merely existing, right? That is dark, and it reveals something really significant about his character. This one, Gal Gadot, she's just dancing around and shit makes her look like a clown.
And who is she trying to be the fairest for? She doesn't hit on any men in the whole movie.
They've never managed to rationalize this throughout the entire movie of what fairest of them all actually means in her context and why it matters to her, because her motivation boils down to, if fairest of them all is like the nicest and the most just and the most compassionate, it's like she's saying, well, I'm going to be more compassionate than Snow White by murdering that bitch.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, I've really proven something there. Nice.
And that's what doesn't make any sense, and especially why they talk about inner beauty at the end when the magic mirror gives that message, is because if the mirror was always talking about inner beauty and fairness in that type of way, then the mirror never would have said that the evil queen was that.
Correct.
So it has to be about beauty.
It just keeps making me think of Drax from Guardians 2 going like, you are beautiful.
Yes.
On the inside.
I think the mirror spoke about it in both ways, being fair, meaning beauty, and that. And I think what it was trying to say is that they're both a power, so you can either make people like you, or you can be beautiful and they'll follow you because they just like the way you look, which are both true. And so she led by physical beauty and led the kingdom, but then the inner beauty won out overall. I think it was like the meek shall inherit the earth kind of thing. The weirdest bit was when they were like, well, beauty isn't skin deep. Yes, it is. If you don't think beauty is skin deep, imagine what you'd look like without that skin. That's what would happen internally.
The mirror is like, no, you don't look fat in those pants at all. That's great.
No, that's where this gets subverted, and it was going to fail before it even started, because whoever started, Greta Gerwig or not, the whole approach to this, like, listen, you didn't have to like remake the 1937 version word for word. You can modernize it a little to where you still have some men and women working together, but every decision was made based on power dynamics, intersectional power dynamics. I mentioned earlier, little things like it's the queen and the king. And we have to drop the 7 dwarves names for a couple of reasons. One, you can't say dwarves. And also, it's Snow White's movie. It's not their movie anymore, even though the original Disney one that created Disney was called Snow White and the 7 Dwarves.
And the 7 Dwarves.
And then they had to remove the prince. Why? Because we don't want to rob Snow White of her agency. Like, she didn't have any before. Like, she's not an iconic character the way she was before. And then every decision within the film is based on those little power dynamics. Even like her dad was a dumbass and just rode off on the word of the queen and dies like
with a bad wig.
With a bad wig.
Think about the song with the dwarves. In the original music, she goes around and she gives all the jobs to the animals, and they go, and I will use the broom. Whereas in this, it's like, and you will use the broom. And she just dances around while she tells them what to do.
Truly, it is the communist utopia. You will do this. Because I'm telling you.
And at the end, the dwarves couldn't avenge who, because they thought she was dead, because that would be considered saving her. So they just took it away. She had to save herself. Now, like the one instance where people will point out is, well, Jonathan took an arrow for her. Yeah, but she ends up saving him a couple of times.
But it was immediately after she, like, because he tries to do a pretty noble thing, which is have her run away while him and the bandits make a stand by putting themselves out in the open and then saying, surprise! This is kind of stupid in general. But, they were obviously going to get beat. Snow White comes back with the animals and saves them, right? She saved them there. And then immediately after that, because, oh, wow, this is somebody who would do something for other people, he steps in front of the arrow for her. But yeah, she saved him multiple times.
Well, then she has to save him by taking him to the dwarves to get healed up.
And she saved him by letting him go in the beginning of the fucking movie. Like,
freeing him.
You also have the kiss in the original movie. He kind of gives her a peck on the lips, and then when she wakes up, she goes like that to pick me up. and then he picks her up and carries her around. It's a very submissive position. Whereas in this, he gives her a peck on the lips, and then she's the one that comes onto him and gives him the passionate kiss at the end.
Yeah.
So
And-
putting her in the position of power.
I had to laugh because that kiss in this remake was like the bare, like it's just a touch.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
you know, we're not doing without a consent. It's only like the slightest.
So, yeah,
Have
like-
checked if we're
I
related.
don't want to make out with a fucking corpse either. You know, little sweet
Run
kiss.
in
especially
any
if it's
port in a
Zegler.
storm, okay, buddy.
Is she still warm or not? That's the question.
No, but that like
doesn't how they have
that's
no
what-
chemistry either.
No, I was going to say they had about as much chemistry as Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler had at the fucking Oscars, like none at all. And like they don't portray it as really a romance. It's a personal assistant who she bangs. That's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's accurate.
No, it's true because
It could be
like,
fantasy too, you know.
this
There
is
you go.
supposed to be true love's kiss, and everything that they've shown is that they should hate each other. She's been this stuck-up brat to him, and he goes into a whole song number about how annoying she is, and
Princess
he's
Price.
like, then they're
That was
supposed
awful.
to be in love, and it's like,
I
it's
don't
another
know
one of
that.
those
Like, here's the
payoffs
thing.
that
That's why
aren't
it's a little disconnected because she's certainly not a stuck-up brat to him in the beginning, right? When they first meet, she like seems to empathize with his cause when he doesn't know she's the princess. He fights for him to be she fights for him to be released when he knows she's the princess, and then she goes and frees him, you know, putting herself in danger. You know, so when they come upon each other then, and he's kind of being like a little angsty towards her about, oh, princess problems. It's like, with everything you've seen of her, he shouldn't really be that antagonistic necessarily towards her right away. So that's one of the things where it does feel like there's some stuff that was redone or reshot, but some stuff kept in because those dynamics don't really make sense.
Yeah, I don't understand the feminist idea that a woman is more interesting without a relationship element in her life. It's like in the original, the most interesting thing kind of about her is like her just quest for love. And I don't know, it makes Rachel Zegler's character just so boring. Like, I don't know. I get annoyed when there's like no making out in a movie or a show. And it's just like, you're really, I'm not buying that you're going to be a leader.
I think
just like some girl.
I think they equate relationships with dependency on someone.
Yes.
And so if you are looking for a relationship or you're kind of in one and in the course of the story, in their mindset, that then defines you and you're no longer an individual. You're just part of a bigger thing.
Yet they're into
you're dependent on-
communism. So what the fuck?
Well, yeah,
It
but
doesn't
like
make
they want it you in the state rather than
Yeah,
you.
you want to be
exactly.
subservient to the state.
Yeah,
Which
what
they
comes
will
down,
call the
down to
people.
is the emancipation of women, right? Which is the reason why they don't want to have relationships. That's a very, I guess, fundamental aspect of feminism, modern feminism.
Well, it's
There's also why they have that March to Freedom
must
at
be
the
a
very end
feminist.
too.
Yeah.
That March to Freedom moment they have, where it's like we're walking towards the castle, we're all united together. And I'm like, oh, and even in the music, you're like, okay, so you're trying to now make this into a
Very diverse town for feudalistic Germany, by the way.
Yeah.
So funny,
Like,
man.
where are all these black
And
people
they
coming
made sure they
from?
put emphasis on it too. Look at how diverse this area is. But let me ask you guys this: how much backlash, or do you think that this movie is completely different if Rachel Zegler never runs her mouth?
Yes.
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 That
100%.
Her words and her interviews have had such a detrimental effect on this movie, and I don't mean like from a performance standpoint, because I think it has a much bigger opening weekend without all of the negativity surrounding it. Now it may have a big drop off after that, but and then you're having the reshoots that go into it, which add to the budget. They clearly reacted to all the negativity, and it's completely fucked this movie up. Now it was always probably going to be a bad movie.
Jeremy, you're 100% right. So whether I'm pretty sure they reacted to Peter Dinklage. I don't know that for sure, but let's just
I feel
say
like they did too.
Let's
I feel
just
like
say
they
they
did too, yeah.
did. That cost 7 actors their jobs, but more importantly, sorry actors, it cost fucking Disney millions of dollars of special effects. That was a costly decision just to not look bad. But they'll vote to groom your children, which they did yesterday. We'll get to that later. But but like they're so worried about that, and it cost them. Who knows, 50 million
Between that and all the CGI animals and all of that stuff that they were putting there, like visual effects for the movie, which didn't look very impressive necessarily. It had to cost them a fuck ton of money, man.
And she
Because
doesn't
pretty
really
much
talk to
all-
the animals that much.
pretty much all of the backgrounds are CGI as well, and it's so jarring as well because like they've got this weird gold yellow piss filter over most of the forest scenes with the dwarves to make it look as beautiful and magical as possible.
Supposed to be like the Twilight filter or whatever.
Sure,
Magic
but then there's a few scenes where like you could tell they went on location and shot in an actual real forest, right? Even though they got these fucking like weird little plastic flowers in the background to give a bit more color, but it's so drab and green and just like normal looking in comparison to that weird overly saturated nonsense they had for the rest of it. It's like they're in a completely different country.
It's almost like it feels like the dwarves' little area is supposed to like feel magical or something. Like that.
Yes,
yeah, it's like the
but then I
safe
don't know
area
what
of the
they're
dark
trying
forest.
for there.
Because it was strange in general, right? When she walks in there and it's all fucking dark and there's just a fucking deer and you think it's an animal and all of a sudden it's just a bad looking CGI deer that she pets. All of a sudden the lights like fucking turn on like almost immediately, not like a sunrise. It's like it becomes illuminated. So there's something magical about that space.
That's because it's a misinterpretation of the original animation. That's actually her fear when she goes into the movie. She's getting stuck on trees and stuff, and she thinks it's them grabbing her. Whereas in this, it makes it seem like they are actually magical trees attacking her and stuff, and it never really goes, oh no, she's just an idiot.
She just doesn't get out much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's over exaggerating the situation because of fear.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So what you were saying before, Jeremy, is like right out of the gate, Rachel Zegler was just tanking this film, where she was just saying how dated the old animation was.
Evidently so.
It's like a princess,
That's
a
Hollywood,
stalker.
baby.
It's so weird, and everything. It's like this is the person that's supposed to be the lead actress in this property, and saying how much she basically hates it. It's like, yeah, that's gonna, really encourage people to be invested in this new interpretation.
I think in her case, like one, she was just really young, and young people are just full of bullshit anyway. But like also, she wasn't given any media training, and I don't think she was in any way prepared for the amount of attention she was going to get for this movie. And like, yeah, all this stuff suddenly resurfaces because she probably at the time just ran her mouth in front of a journalist, like, "Oh, this person's asking me some questions. I'm gonna, fly the feminist flag and talk about how we're improving on the original. All that. This will never be misconstrued." Not realizing, you're involved in something pretty big now. Gal Gadot was way more savvy about all this stuff and pretty much avoided all the controversy.
And you have to remember that was not, look, all these fucking celebrity interview, red carpet, blue carpet, whatever they're doing things, they're all circle jerks. But this specifically was at D23. And it was when they made these big announcements and this whole thing. And it's full of hardcore freaks, and she must probably felt like she could do no wrong and was on top of the world and all this shit.
Yep.
This is like 2 years, by the way, after Steven Spielberg saw her singing music on fucking YouTube and plucked her out of obscurity for West Side Story.
And then she she later disrespected Spielberg recently by she doesn't stop. She shut up about fucking Disney and then disrespects all of Spielberg. Yeah, that she disrespected all of fucking Spielberg's people. It's like okay, we tried to make an excuse for you. You're young, you're stupid. We've all been young and stupid.
Don't have an excuse at 20.
It's no.
I mean, I'm old and
Disparu.
stupid still, but I'm not that stupid.
I tried that excuse in fucking court when I went to prison at her age. It didn't work.
What do you guys think of the theory that Disney told her to say those things, to come out like girl boss?
I think anyone that I think they definitely had talking points in general about the movie. But if you're asking whether they listen, there are different ways to say these things too.
Yes.
There are different ways to say that, hey, guys, we're doing a little bit more of a different take on Snow White, maybe a little bit more modernized, but we're still going to respect so much of what came before. Or they're saying, well, this is going to be a modern Snow White. It's not 1937 anymore, evidently so. And she's not going to be saved by the prince. It's going to be all about her becoming the woman that her father told her she could be, the leader that was fearless, fair, strong, and brave, or whatever the fuck.
I think, sorry.
No, you're good.
You go ahead.
I was going to say the bit that really stuck with me, right, is when she was talking about her co-star, Andrew Burner.
Yes, I was going to say that.
The fact that she had the gall to say, like, well, all of Andrew's scenes might get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
What the hell?
How can you talk about your co-star like that? If nothing else, you should at least be professional towards them.
It is a
talking about him
double-edged.
like he's a piece of shit that you can just scrape off your shoe.
It is a double-edged sword, though, because on the one hand, you've got all of the negative comments that drill up bad press and everything, but also that gave him a chance to try and fix the movie. So without her comments, you end up with a whole different movie that will be way more extravagant, way more feminist, way more down that alley, with no turning back.
Way more entertaining.
Yeah, I think the movie. Back to Jeremy's question, I think the movie has a better first weekend.
Significantly,
but I think you're right, Disparu. I think it might have actually been worse. It might, so it would have dropped significantly, but maybe I think
all the love story goes out the window because
they would have had a smaller budget.
Comments. That was what the movie was. It didn't have a love story. She wasn't going to be saved by the prince. It would have been her and the band of things trying to lead a revolution, like a socialist revolution against the kingdom. It would have gone full speed ahead.
But it still would have probably had a better weekend.
And it would have had a smaller budget. It would have had a smaller budget as well.
Yep.
If they didn't do all of this. So it would have made probably more money, and it would have had a smaller budget and a lot less negativity surrounding it. But this is where they are, and they deserve it.
Yeah, it might have legged out like what Little Mermaid, and it still might do what Little Mermaid does, like 500 million worldwide, which still is a massive bomb because this movie cost $350 million.
I could see this doing a Brave New World and not even reaching 400 million.
I can too.
Eventually,
my guess before like last week, was that it would, because there's not a ton of competition for it
2 weeks
over the next couple weeks.
It wasn't for Brave New World either.
Yeah, and there's not. That's the only reason that thing has a chance, and it will crack 400. But my guess was 4 to 450, which would be disastrous, right? With all the money they've spent and everything like it would be disastrous. With these new numbers that are coming out now, the projected $50 million-ish opening domestically and only $50 million internationally, it could be a lot lower than that. It really could be in that 300 range because the international audience is rejecting it too. It's one thing for America, culture war, fucking her Trump comments, like all this stuff. Internationally, it's pulling in some of the worst numbers we've ever seen for Disney live action adaptations. In Japan, it's second right now to Wicked in Wicked's third weekend of release, because that released very late in Japan for some fucking reason. In Germany, in Italy, they can align on some things sometimes. In Germany and Italy, it's the least viewed live action they've ever had. Where else? Korea, one of the worst Disney live actions ever premiered there. So everywhere, it's very bad for them. China, it's gonna make $1 million in its first weekend in China. But the Chinese like Black Little Mermaid more than they like.
Wow.
That in perspective.
Well, you know what? I have to say, this movie is better than Twilight is better than this movie, and Snow White makes Belle likable in comparison. It's that bad. And
that is one of the issues with the protagonist. You can't have an insufferable protagonist. And in this movie, those dwarves are sitting alone in the middle of a forest for 275 years until an insufferable woman comes along and starts tone policing them, telling them you can't call each other the names. Oh, these people, you can't just call him Dopey just because he's a bit thick. It's the worst thing in the world.
I mean,
there's a real quick in the chat. There's a small YouTuber. His name's Benny Johnson. So hi, Benny Johnson.
Hi, Benny. Hey,
he's
keep
small.
going, buddy. You can do it.
I think if he just keeps
make it
grinding,
one day.
he'll make it one day. So hail Benny Johnson. So,
we believe in
go
you.
ahead, anyway. But somebody was making a point. Go ahead. We never interrupt on Friday Night Tights, so I'm sorry. I've never done that.
Ever happens.
Yeah.
So
we miss you, Az. We miss you, buddy.
No, we don't.
R.I.P.
He's playing Assassin's Creed. Somebody on Twitter said, "Can we do a Barbenheimer thing with Snow White and Assassin's Creed and call it Snow Ass?" I'm down with that. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Disasters all over the place.
But it really is a disaster. And I just find it interesting because Disney tried so hard to fix this thing and they still served up a massive steaming pile of crap. It's like they just can't fix themselves at the moment, not with the lack of talent that are just, consumed them.
Well, it's because what if the only way to fix it is to tell the original story? What if you need gender roles in a movie in order to have a good story to begin with? Because it's so basic to what humanity is that if you remove that, you remove any kind of soul from any story whatsoever.
You rip out the heart.
Here's the question about the wider context for this, right? Say this film is a disastrous flop, doesn't crack like 300 million worldwide or something, right? What does this do for future Disney live action remakes?
Oh, nothing.
Is this something? Well, I see you say that, but like Mufasa didn't do particularly well. The Little Mermaid didn't do particularly well.
Mufasa's actually legged out a pretty good box office.
Okay, yeah, he got there eventually.
But, to make up its budget.
What we're going to talk about in a second, but we're going to go over a little video from the investor meeting from yesterday, which was fucking cringe.
Ooh.
But like Bob Iger mentions Snow White and then just immediately goes, okay, here's a clip for Lilo and Stitch.
Aww.
So
And
I get your point. I get your point.
Yeah.
I get your point, Drinker. But what does it do? I think the overall picture, I agree with you. What does it do for creativity and groundbreaking work? And like nothing. This is terrible. Once we get past all the woke shit, then we're just going to be remakes of remakes of remakes. What's Disney's slate this year? It's all fucking prequels, sequels, and remakes. That's their entire slate.
I think the bigger thing that will come from this is for them to be a little more aware of what the lead actors or actresses are saying. That might be the one main thing that comes from this, because she did significant damage to them for this. She really did.
I think they need to evaluate which movies they're making, and if they think remaking those movies can fit within whatever social context they think should be. Is it going to become controversial if what they want to do with the movie is going to piss people off? That might be something they think about. Lilo and Stitch is going to do big fucking numbers.
I think it's going to be $1 billion.
Yeah. And I don't
Unless
care about
Lilo
the
runs
Hawaiian
their mouth.
subplot. I don't care about the dark-skinned Hawaiian subplot that everyone's all fucking pissed about on Twitter.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about that. They care about fucking Stitch being a crazy bastard.
Yeah,
That's all
and also
care about
most people
that
forget that Dumbo, which this movie seems to be kind of mirroring in certain light, that was a huge flop for that company, and they still continued going on after that fact too.
Yeah, and but are they, but again, like, what is it just going to be remakes now because superhero films aren't making it now? They like, and actually the prospects for them get grimmer by the day, which we'll get to. But like, what does it do for the future of Hollywood? This is terrible. And I mentioned it in a previous video. This is the equivalent of rolling out a fucking ancient rock band to fill a stadium because they're the only ones who can. There's nothing new that's bringing any people. We just had the worst box office. Drinker made a great video on it. And like, we just had the worst box office for like 3 weeks in a row. The domestic total was under $55 million for 3 weeks in a row. And for like 4 weeks in a row, there's only one that's hit over 100. All the other ones have been under 80. So it's been grim, absolutely grim. And they're freaking out. And that it doesn't help. Sorry to get so random. We might get to this later. Apple just announced that they lose $1 billion a year on streaming.
Yeah.
I'm shocked it's only a year and not a quarter.
Not a quarter.
But the thing is, they don't care. They make like $1 trillion.
No, but Hollywood
phones.
But that scares the shit out of Hollywood because Apple one day might just go, you know what? We don't need to do this anymore.
Well, what's Disney losing every year on Disney Plus?
So right now, they are basically treading water when it comes to streaming. They say that streaming is now profitable because they spent $27 billion to buy a profitable streaming platform in Hulu, which not accounting for how much money they spent to get it. But between Hulu and ESPN Plus and Disney Plus, they say that they're making about $100 to $150 million a quarter on streaming. That's their claim.
Which is a bag of chips.
Is doing? I don't know.
No, like
before that, wasn't it losing like $1 billion a quarter? Before it started shoving those things in the numbers.
Well, okay. So Disney Plus is by itself is still massively in debt. Like I'm talking 5 years ago, they had $15 billion already into it. So, and they paid $72 billion. So it's a fucking shell game, and they're hiding things. You can take the article down. That's just one example of like Hollywood's a side hustle of a mailing order fucking website and one that makes and a company that makes phones. And the minute they decide, hey, we're done, they're fucking screwed. If Apple pulls out, Apple spends a lot of money, and at least I'm not into it, but at least they try different things, right? You can give them credit for trying.
Well, they're successful as well. Severance has actually hit something where a lot of people know about it. A lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah.
It's hitting the zeitgeist, no matter whether you like it or not. And Disney series don't do that very often.
No.
But Apple's spending. Apple has the same problem as everybody else. They're spending way too much money on some of these fucking projects, and they have very few actual subscribers compared to a lot of these other platforms. That's why they're losing so much money.
And if you go to Disney Plus right now, it's fucking Hulu. So people have been posting pictures like you fire up Disney Plus and a Nora comes up on the fucking header.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
That's
so
kid appropriate.
Yeah. They're like, you can fix the parental settings. How many fucking parents are paying attention to that shit? Little Jimmy wants to go watch Bluey and he accidentally hits fucking Nora and he's like, Mommy, Daddy, why does Jimmy feel funny in pants now?
You can see, though, how they're trying to jack up their profits or at least squeeze a bit more money out of their existing subscriber base, though. Now you've got commercials on most of the things that you watch, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Amazon. They're just introducing all this stuff that's used in, like, conventional network TV. Now suddenly it's back on the streaming service, which was specifically created to avoid that stuff.
Because
they're
it's
just going back to the same model.
That's why.
It's because they realize that that technique was not going to work long term for all of these fucking companies, right? When all of them were creating their own original content to put on streaming. It worked when it was Netflix. Netflix was able to do this because they were basically the only ones in the game, and they weren't paying anything to produce anything for the most part. You have your occasional House of Cards, Orange is the New Black, like all these things. But that's so tiny compared to the vast majority of things on there that people are watching, their huge library that they got. They weren't paying to make any of that stuff. And so they were able to do it with $12, $13, $14 a month from 250 million subscribers. But now that all these other ones are popping up, they're realizing, like, not only do we have a much more limited selection because everyone's hoarding all of their shit now for their own, but now we're having to pay $200 million for Secret Invasion that nobody fucking watches. They're pushing all this money into this stuff. And instead of getting $7.99 from someone a month, which is not paying the bills for them, they're like, you know what? If we just fucking hike the premium up to, like, I don't know, $25, $30, $40, we'll force them to go for the lowest fee they can, and we'll show them ads. And because of those ads, they'll make $50, $75, $100 off that person just by selling ads, which is what they used to do for normal television.
I know.
Yeah.
They've now completely and totally destroyed.
They've reinvented cable. Well done.
Basically, everything old is new again.
They brought us back. So Snow White did 3.5 million on Thursday, right? So it's tracking just above Dumbo. They're doing the comparison to like 10-year-old movies.
Yeah, like Dumbo and
2019's.
I mean, Thursday
Dumbo's
night
at least only
doesn't really
6,
tell
I
you
guess.
anything.
But even so, what's funny is that movie's still open to 45, like unadjusted, $45 million. And so you're looking at, like, there's a good chance that this movie could make less than the unadjusted numbers for Dumbo. And if you take into account ticket sale prices too, like more people would have gone to have seen Dumbo back in 2019 than this one. So it's no matter how you spin it, this thing is a massive.
And the important thing is that international that's projected at about a $50 million international. Dumbo opened to, despite only 45 million domestically, opened to $116 million worldwide in 2019, on its way to a massive flop and failure of about, like, what, $340 to $350 million total. Snow White is set to open, projected open at $100 million worldwide.
Oh, you love to see it. Disney just getting their just desserts.
It's like you said, though, Shad. It's like the fucking iceberg that got spotted about 15 minutes before impact. It's like, it's there. Turn, change course, do something. I would just fly right into it.
Yeah, keep going straight. It's fine. It'll be fine.
And they're not going to adjust even after this. They're just so entrenched and deluded that.
You saw with Rachel's recent Allure interview, that came after they'd gone, we're going to shut all the press down. She's only going to be doing controlled things. So that Allure interview is in line with their new thing that they're planning. So if they are going to change how people can talk, that is the lockdown perspective. I think this movie will usher in a newfound freedom where hate goes away and everyone will love each other and get on perfectly. It's like, you can't say that after what you've just said. Like, before you were like, if you don't like my business, then you can just unfollow me. I don't need you. And it's like, you can't have her preach about love and kindness.
Well, we've actually had like 2 reset cycles on Rachel Zegler, right? One was when all the backlash occurred. It was during the strike, all that stuff. As soon as that everything got over, she did that interview with Halle Bailey, where she suddenly changed her tune about the original and said all the right things, whatever. But then we got closer and closer to election season and closer to the release of Snow White. She was having meltdowns about that, and she does her fucking Instagram reel about voting for Kamala and against Trump supporters. And then a couple months later, I think the people that are passionate about this movie, it's just because they're fans. They just love it. It's passion. It's like we've had a couple hard resets with this woman. Fucking.
Well, you wonder what she's gonna be like. Like once the promo tour's done and this movie's like done and dusted, like what is she gonna be like then? Because she will be unleashed. Like she won't have any Disney control over her then. Like I assume she's just gonna go into full on fuck it mode.
Absolutely.
Like, okay, everyone hates me, and you know what?
I know. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. You were talking about how you guys earlier were talking about like how relatively young she is. Like obviously that's not an excuse, right? But it's one of the contributing factors that may have led to her doing this. I think a lot of it also has to do with how young she is in the industry in general. A lot of these people who end up getting these big roles when they're 20, 21, they like grew up in the space, right? They've been associated with these projects. They've been in Hollywood, which is a scary thing in general, how these people end up so fucked up. But she wasn't, right? Like out of obscurity to starring in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, a year later you get cast as Snow White. Like,
she got a big head.
I think that was one of the contributing factors that led to her making all of these missteps along the way.
Rachel's problem is that she never learns from what's happened to her and the response. So even the passionate thing.
Her problem is she's a woman.
When Henry Cavill said it, he was saying these people are passionate because they like the source material. When she's saying it, she's going, well, they're just passionate about it, and I had nothing to do with it. It's like, no, they were passionate because your comments. You're the one that instigated it. It's a reaction to you. So by saying they're just passionate, it's like you're just a passive actress that got attacked by people who cared about something.
Yeah,
and so until she takes accountability for what she's done and that she has been the problem in the situation, she'll never change because she'll never learn.
Well,
do you think when she find out how bad it's going to tank, she'll say like, I'm a victim, like, oh,
sure, absolutely, 100%. Let's keep in mind this person, in one of the interviews, she was asking for empathy, went after and tried to, was part of the canceling of Gina Carano, was absolutely going after her about that. Do not forget that one either.
What was it? Shout out to Pedro Pascal or something she tweeted at the end of it.
And also, I wonder if she'll do a full Amanda Stenberg type video at some point.
I want her to do a diss track.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hope
that would be in line with her character.
Well, the thing is, like, she can actually sing at least.
We need Amanda Stenberg and Rachel Zegler to be in a film together.
Yes.
As long as they fuck each other. I'm
Nora too.
Now that would be a very high grossing film for them if they were
going to get Brie Larson in there for the Holy Trinity right there.
Add Blake Lively and Meghan Markle.
Every apology Zegler has tried to do has just felt so fake, especially when she
felt that way.
Oh, sorry, you felt that way, or people just hate when I win.
The copy paste onto her Instagram after the Trump thing. There's 100% a copy.
Yes, it was.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, she compares herself to great works of art and all this stuff. And the fact that it flips, like, no, Rachel, we've seen who you really are. Okay, you've revealed that, and because your apologies are showing no accountability, no actual real remorse, we can tell you're full of it. You just come off as more insincere by these resets, and it just makes you look even more fake because we know what you really think of most of the people that in America and that love these classic stories, and so we're not buying it. This whole it's all about love and peace is like you're full.
Well, remember in the election feedback, she said that half the population, well, more than half the population of America should never know peace.
Never.
So this is about peace and love. She specifically said that I don't want you to ever know peace.
And then she goes, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean what I said about you never knowing peace."
It's like a Happy Gilmore moment.
Yeah.
Go on, get out of here. I hate you. Oh, come on,
I'm sorry. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Unfollow me. I don't need your business.
Yeah,
my book.
She and Disney brought it on themselves. They were so reactionary, and they're only reactionary to one side, right? And like we can't undersell that they shut down the premiere. I mean, it happened, but there was no media questions, no red carpet. They handpicked a bunch of people to go see the screening so they can get their social media reactions. This is what they do all the time, by the way. Shang-Chi. We all remember the absolute triumph that was Shang-Chi.
Well, they did have interviews on the red carpet, Gary. I just want to be clear.
Sure.
It wasn't from any like of the normal media reporters. It was only from people employed by Disney.
In-house
like
Disney people, yes.
It was in-house Disney interviews about it.
Yep.
To make sure they wouldn't get any questions that Rachel Zegler would say something retarded to.
And we were
I was honestly looking forward to Rachel getting asked, like, would you say that this is the gayest Disney movie?
I know.
The gayest.
Mark is my favorite. Okay.
Mark is the one who broke the news about that.
Yeah.
The same Mark Malkin who asked the question that got clipped that made this thing into a viral story anyway. The same Mark Malkin is the one who wrote the initial news for Variety that it was going to be a toned down premiere.
Oh, he has provided so much for us. So thank you, Mark.
I don't think he's doing it for us, and I don't think he wants our.
Well, he was
thanks, but we'll
interviewing
thank you
Bree.
nonetheless.
He was interviewing Bree when he's like, "Are you gonna come back to Captain Marvel?" I don't know. Do they want me?
Do they want me back?
It's like in those movies where you find out someone's been living for 1,000 years and they go through the photo books and he's like, he was there. He was there. He was, he was on the Titanic.
He's been there all
along.
along.
He's a
This
doctor.
movie saved lives, Eternals.
I mean, I've come around on the guy. I first hated him, but it's like that. He's like an internal, mole just trying to.
Yes.
But he's so disarming. It's like the entire attitude. And Rachel falls for it specifically. There was another guy, very camp, and she just kind of melts around them, and all the defenses go down. Just say anything. So he's the perfect kryptonite.
Yeah, don't forget, he's a gay dude, but he's still a dude, okay?
And a journalist.
Oh, this makes me nervous a little bit because we don't have my quarter Black Garrett. I was going to say something else. And
mine.
we're going to have to
I own him.
Yes.
My property.
Hey, like I said, when he retires, he gets what's 25% of 40 acres? 12 acres and a quarter mule. We got to so Disney, we'll try to do this quick. There's only a couple I want to do. So there was a board meeting and they for Disney, and they had some kind of vote going on, and they have these proposals and they have to air them, by law, but they actually, work really hard to make sure they get buried as much as possible. And there was one in particular where I was listening to this when I was on my walk. So hopefully this comes off well. But basically the guy's like saying, hey, stop, grooming children, basically. And they vote no. Like, it's so funny.
Oh my God.
It's so funny. And like a couple of guys come out, they talk about, holding back advertising from Twitter, but make sure this is the one. Let's hear what they have to say. X-ray.
Awkward pause.
There
we go.
Very awkward pause. The only thing is I don't know the timestamp of where you wanted to go.
It's,
and this is why
it's right there. It should be right there.
2035.
2035, yeah. It's Lady Greymaster had it in the private
You got to
chat.
unmute it.
I will.
Within the next 5 years. Over 40% of Disney's retirement plan assets are invested in the company.
No, not this one. Not this. This is the hippie trying to force climate change one. Lady Greymaster. I want the one where they basically said, stop targeting children and stuff, and they go, we vote no in this proposal. Well, just look it up. We'll move on until you find it.
Absolutely insane that they
2416 is when they vote against it, it says.
Yeah, so there's a human rights campaign. Well, so for one, this one group put out a proposal of you need to fight climate change and back out of all fossil fuels. And they said, no, fuck you. Stupid hippie.
Dumb.
But then it goes to like Disney's participation in GARM, which took away advertising from Twitter and stuff. And they wanted to propose like, hey, that's actually bad for business. They shot that down. There was another one right before that, Lady Greymaster, about the grooming thing, but it's not 2035. But we're gonna have to move on. It was 2020 2230. There we go. 2230. In the meantime, hi everybody. How you doing? Hope you're having a good day.
Hi.
Horatio.
That's Disney's head lawyer.
My name is Stefan Padfield, and I am the Executive Director of the Free Enterprise Project, which is part of the National Center for Public Policy Research. The National Center is the proponent of the proposal asking Disney to reconsider its participation in the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index. Why should Disney stop participating in HRC's CEI? Because, as noted by Tyler O'Neill, senior editor at the Daily Signal, the Human Rights Campaign acts as a kind of mafia, forcing companies to embrace gender ideology in exchange for a high rating in the Corporate Equality Index. Specifically, as noted by Robbie Starbuck in a post on X, the HRC leverages corporations to support its work to legalize child sex changes and men in girls' locker rooms. Accordingly, it is not surprising that in recent months, 19 name brand companies totaling over $4 trillion in market cap have dropped the HRC's CEI. Companies like Tractor Supply, John Deere, Harley Davidson, Polaris, Indian Motorcycle, Lowe's, Ford, Coors, Stanley Black & Decker, Jack Daniels, Caterpillar, Toyota, Walmart, McDonald's, Meta, Target, Accenture, Pepsi, and AT&T. Pushing on children the belief that they can be born in the wrong body and that such beliefs should be affirmed by minors taking puberty blockers or even undergoing experimental surgeries, sometimes behind the back of their parents, is bad for business. You can help Disney get out of that business by voting in favor of our proposal.
Wait.
The board of directors has recommended a vote against this proposal
Boom!
for the reasons set out in the proxy statement.
These pieces. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Disney.
Good Lord.
That's your Disney, ladies and gentlemen. They're backing away from DEI. No, they're still the same creepy fucking company they are always going to be. I mean, that was a total setup. And, listen, I am not a financial analyst in any way, shape, or form, but they bury these proposals. They were never going to win. And, I think that got 1% of the vote. I find that hard to believe that 1% of investors would be, against that. Just 1%. That's a little sus, as the kids say.
So was the board voting, or was it...
A company has a financial duty to do what is best for the shareholders. So in other words, to make profit. And all of this is a false economy because that is a loan. So you get a low-interest loan that you have to pay back. But you can only pay back the loan if you make profit in the first place. You fill your company with stuff that people hate so they don't buy your product and you just lose money. A cheap loan isn't going to help you. You're still going to be more in debt over time. So you just have the expensive loan and make profit like the rest of the companies were.
Exactly. And Bob Iger wasn't in the beginning of this, and they ran this big fucking spiel with Lilo and Stitch, and they didn't really announce anything new. And I was only listening to it, so I don't know if you watch it, it's funny. But Bob Iger is, because they're feeling the heat from Universal, they're really focusing on their parks now, and they're bragging about the animatronics, right? And Bob Iger's like, we have these new animatronics, and they have genuine people personalities. And you hear the robot, and you're like, that thing had more personality than Bob Iger delivering personality. It was fucking hilarious.
He's the worst thing that's ever happened.
Terrible.
He really
Why
is.
is he hanging in
awful,
there?
so.
Like, damn.
They got
He's a politician. He's a politician. He's a politician.
Yes.
That's all he is.
Well, yeah. What did they
Probably
was Valiant? Sorry, the board of directors was running it. Sorry, Shad, but he's from fucking Morgan, Stanley Morgan or some bank.
Morgan
Stanley. I don't fucking know banks, man.
Iger also took away
I don't trust him.
$41 million in 2024. So every year he can hold on, he's making an absolute fortune.
Well, if they were to try to get rid of him or something, it would cost them a lot of money. There was a report that came out a few days ago that, because originally one of the main focuses this year was to find and announce his successor. And there's been some reports that might be extended a little bit because they don't like some of the internal candidates. They're looking to bring more outside people in to look
Dana
at them.
Walden, the ABC lady?
Yeah, I think Josh DeMauro, I think they really wanted to push him a few years ago, but because the theme parks are getting butt fucked so hard and because people are so upset about some of the things that are happening
I think it's
in the
prison
park,
raped, Ryan.
What?
I think it's prison raped. But go on. Sorry.
Is that the politically correct term?
Yes.
So I thought it was racist to say that.
Called prison relationships.
Yeah, but I think his stock has gone so down recently because of the way that people who are consistently at those parks feel about it that I don't know if that's going to be a possibility. He got booed at that last
hated.
fucking expo when they announced a bunch of the changes to Disney World.
He is fucking despised within the theme park world, like fucking hated.
And
big
Chapek
time.
was too.
I have leftist theme park fucking people using clips from my video when Josh D'Amaro was in
No
the
way. No way.
When Josh D'Amaro is at the Star Cruiser and it was during COVID and he's got a fucking mask on doing the stupid lightsaber shit. And I didn't even know it was Josh D'Amaro at the time. I just paused. I was like, look at this stupid fuck wearing a mask. And they're like using that clip, probably not even knowing where it's from, to insult Josh D'Amaro.
That's utterly brilliant.
Yeah. No, seriously, Bob Iger is absolutely despised. I mean, he is destroying Walt Disney World, like destroying it, destroying Walt's legacy. Like there's an active, they are actively making decisions to remove everything from Walt's legacy there.
So sad.
He and Kathleen Kennedy make quite the team, don't
They
they?
absolutely
Yeah,
do.
They really do.
achieved a great
You know
deal.
what? You can lump in Kevin Feige with that too. I think that the time has passed of him. I think if he's smart, well, if he was smart, he would have retired after Endgame. But if he's smart, he'll retire and go probably run Star Wars just as badly as Kathleen Kennedy after Secret Wars, because as things look right now, they're not looking good.
No.
Briefly, we could talk about Daredevil briefly, because I want to get into Ass Creed. But
Hey Gary, is it getting better?
no.
So
So
I think the first half of this episode
I watched this
a lot of
episode.
dog shit.
It was bad.
But the second half, specifically his talk with Punisher, I think is
Phenomenal.
that's
great.
that's next level.
It's some of the best shit you'll see.
It
I mean,
gives
yeah,
you whiplash.
Yeah.
really
How is
good.
it swinging so
And
wildly from
ultimately, it is
terrible
all
to
leading-
awesome?
It's patchwork, but I mean that can't be like. I won't let them use an excuse that they patchwork some of the first season stuff and that they ditched. That's bullshit. And you really see it. There's two scenes that contradict each other. There's the black guy who's in jail who is crying about wanting to steal Fiddle Faddle, who with 30 fucking priors, and
Yes.
Matt gets him 30 days, and he's bitching. He's all, no, I want probation because society did this to me.
Yeah, and then
Fuck
Matt
off.
apologizes on top of that.
I wanted
It's
Matt
fucking
to
retarded.
snap that stupid fuck's neck. I
Yeah.
hated that dude.
Yeah.
I wanted that dude to
Starts
get.
whining about how
I wanted him to get
inconvenient
life
it
in
is.
fucking prison and kill himself in prison. That's what I wanted that dude, legitimately. And they presented it as some sort of fucking sob story.
And,
And
then Daredevil goes in the next scene and starts saying that actually punishing people doesn't reduce crime. Yes, it does. If you punish someone enough, they
Okay.
don't do it again.
Okay.
She then goes, well, if we put them in prison, they can't commit crime.
Okay.
Counter argument to
Disparu.
all this is California.
I was going to say Disparu. That's so funny that it comes out at the time where even fucking Gavin Newsom is rolling back his own shit because he wants to run for president. And it's provable that when they passed that, I think it's 47. I can't remember. I was there, but I can't remember. When they passed that one law that where it's $900, anything under $900 is fine. You could just steal. Yes, crime went up astronomically, so much so that they stopped reporting stuff so they could fudge the numbers, which they do in New York and every major city. But I digress. That's a horrible time to say that. Then you contradict that with fucking John Bernthal gets on the screen, and all of a sudden it feels like I'm watching the old Daredevil. It's like, holy shit, what the fuck? It was such a great scene, and they kind of rally Kingpin a little bit. I mean, they cuck the shit out of him.
Oh, the therapy scene?
No, at the end.
No,
At the end.
about the end. And this is what I was talking about. This has kind of been my speculation the entire time, was that he was holding this guy prison, that he's putting on this fucking fake ass face.
Yes.
And it's like, and everything's going to come to a head for both of these characters. Daredevil has been putting on a fake face, and he finally gets called out by Punisher, which is going to be part of the impetus for why he turns back. And that's like, I think that's what had to happen. It took too long. All the setup was fucking awful. And we'll see what happens. But you know, when you were talking earlier, Gary, about some of the leftover stuff, and I do agree some stuff was leftover, it was used in the first couple episodes, but all of the Vanessa Kingpin stuff is new stuff.
Is new stuff.
Because she wasn't in it
The older
originally.
stuff was
Like-
the White Tiger stuff and anything with Kirsten McDuffie and Cherry. Like they're holdovers from the other series. And I think Muse was initially going to be in it anyway. But his 2 seconds were good. Like Muse is a good villain if they do him right. Like, you know, using blood to paint your murals. He had people hanging up in the rafters. It was such a weird episode of contrasts of mostly shit with one good scene.
John Bernthal is absolutely fantastic in this role. He is as good of a casting as I've ever seen, and his acting and his performance is as good as any I've ever seen in any superhero, whether it's movies or television. He is absolutely incredible. And that was the only thing I cared about. And I haven't seen episode 2 and 3. I only saw the first one, and it sucked. So I didn't even watch anymore. But I watched this one because Gary told me to watch. Yes, but I watched the whole episode, and of course, there's some things that I wasn't caught up on the storylines or whatever. But it was just so fucking boring. And you get to that scene, it's crazy. It's night and day. The tone, the interest level, the stakes involved in just that moment, and it makes you care about everything that's going on when those two are talking to each other. Everything makes sense all of a sudden. And then that's it.
Yeah, and it was 100% newer because they referred to Foggy, who wasn't in the original. Right. So as far as the original is for the episodes 2 and 3 were supposed to be the first 2 episodes of the original. So they just recreated.
And in the original, I believe both Foggy and Karen were supposed to be dead, but it wasn't going to occur. They were just died.
They just died
somehow,
which is
holy shit.
There's a lot of just
disappointing that would be.
There's a lot of writing off previously. Like there's one in this where it's like, is it a scroll? He's like, no. And then
they mentioned
scrolls.
Yeah,
they did.
They mentioned scrolls. Oh, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, the guy's like, we got you on camera. Like Matt's like, I know you're saying you didn't do it, but you're a fucking scumbag, thieving son of a bitch, and we have you on camera. So let me just try to do my best. Get you 30 days. We'll get you out of here. He's like, no, man, I'm a victim. I needed that to feed my kids, bro. I needed that shit. I got nothing else to do. I
just wanted something
What am I
sweet.
supposed to do? Like, it was so fucking stupid. I hated that character so much. And the fact that Matt didn't bust down the fucking cage and choke him to death right there pissed me the fuck off. Like, how fucking awful. What an awful lesson to, like, present this piece of dog shit as sympathetic. Fucking sit there and rot, you bitch.
20 priors.
He even said, like, well, it would be cheaper to give me the stuff that I stole than send me to prison. It's like, yes, that's because we hate you so much, because you deserve it so much, because it's justice that you get punished for what you've done, that we will spend the extra money to make sure you learn the lesson.
And also, let's not forget, sometimes I'm eating trash. I'm digging. Sometimes I just want something sweet, something nice. He stole 6 boxes.
A fiddle faddle. He said, I just like that caramel popcorn, and I do too.
But you don't steal it, okay?
Get a job. I don't care if I sound like my dad.
Do you realize how inconvenient it is for me to get my benefits when I come out of prison? It's way harder for me to leech off the state when I get out of prison than anything else. I'm like, oh, please.
I have to reapply for my free stuff.
I can't get a job.
Yeah. I mean, I can't go apply for a job, but I have to reapply for my free stuff. And it's not like this guy was like a heroin addict or something like that, or a fentanyl zombie. He looked pretty sound-minded body,
Last time I went in was for 20 days.
He was a victim, Gary, a victim of society.
Oh. Yeah, cry that shit to me all day long.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not sure if I missed it, but how did Daredevil find Frank Castle? He just kind of walked straight to him.
Yeah, he just kind of
He just knew where he lived.
You knew where he lived? He's like, keep the tabs on him?
No, well, mystery solved there.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to go to Frank's house.
He looked up Punisher in the phone book.
Yeah, he did.
Found his address.
The
phone book, Jesus Christ.
Shad, I don't want to spoil anything here, but the script actually told him where to go.
Oh,
yeah. So we don't have to worry about storytelling and all that. Like,
it's his actual layer where he's got his guns and everything, and that people can just waltz on in. And I'm just like,
it was
no
weird.
security.
Well, he
was
did
so
attack
weird.
him when he came in.
That's what Arrow turned into. They even have people walking into Arrow's lair talking about how easy it is to get into Arrow's lair.
Dude.
They start taking the piss out of their own base.
I love what my wife said about Arrow went downhill when he stopped doing like sit-ups from the ceiling, from the rafters. She's like, it went downhill after that.
Yeah. It was about the same time he stopped killing people.
How many episodes is this season of Daredevil? Is it 8?
9.
9?
Okay.
9. So is
double
John
episode next week when he gets the suit back on?
Is Frank Castle going to be in this anymore, or is it just his one?
No, he's in it a lot more later.
And I'll watch.
Yeah, but Kamala Khan's dad is next episode, guys.
I wonder if Disney's going to make a special announcement about him making an appearance. They won't be able to tag him on Twitter, but maybe.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, yeah. I mean,
I'm just holding out for Echo to make a return, man. Can't wait
Well,
to see her again.
You know who's coming? Ironheart.
I saw that on Twitter
yeah.
just this morning.
Yeah.
I was like
the one
It's
image
finally
we
happening.
have is just like
it's
so bad.
Dude,
Dude,
looks like she just got caught with fliffle flaffles or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's pixelated, but I mean, there it goes. It cleared up. It cleared up.
Yeah,
good.
cleared up.
There we go.
Cleared up just
She
fine.
looked
Actually,
like
could
she's
you put it
gonna
back?
take a dump.
Could you put it back to
yeah,
the?
she
Yeah,
she
put it
looks
back to
constipated. She
I
does
actually
not
think the
look
robot
happy.
face is. I think the robot face is worse because it looks like a miserable, angry iron face. It's like
I don't know. Like this picture looks like she just got caught spray painting the N-word on her own house.
Shout out to LeBron James.
Yeah, shout out LeBron.
You know what's funny about this is that they rehired Robert Downey Jr. Before they premiered his Replacements TV show. It's happened so quick because if you don't know, if you don't read the comic books, this is essentially the replacement for Tony Stark. She is Shuri and Tony Stark and Reed Richards all in one. She's smarter than all of them. She is the best ever. She is the best ever.
This has been in the can though for like 2 or 3 years,
Yes.
isn't it? Like
Yes.
they have been doing everything in their power to kill this, like looking for a way out of the contracts, and it's just like we can't. We have to release it. I mean,
I think it might be a full dump. And doesn't this come out like the week before or after Fantastic Four or something? It's like right around
Before
then.
it comes out in June, and so I think it's like a couple weeks before.
Okay.
Like said, at the end
oh,
of
please
June, I
say
think.
it's weekly.
This should just be a fucking dump like
Yes.
Echo.
Yes.
Are they
sure
going to dump
weekly.
the whole thing as like?
We'll find
in one
out.
I don't know if they will. I say
if
they
they've got
should.
any common sense, they will get it out there as quickly as possible so people forget about it.
I mean, don't do it. Let us make fun of it for 6 or 7
Well,
weeks. in a
they
row.
were.
Yeah.
I mean, their thinking. I'm guessing their thinking was, okay, we have some shit, so we're going to put it out. We're going to try to sprinkle in what we think is good, and they were hoping Daredevil would be better received. But since it's not, things are looking kind of dire for them this year. Because then we have Daredevil. When it finishes, we got Thunderbolts. Then we have Ironheart. Then we have Fantastic Four. One of those better fucking take off.
I mean, July is going to be a bloodbath, man,
Yep.
because you've got Fantastic Four going head to head with Superman, and you've got Jurassic World around about the same time. So
It's starting to look like Jurassic World's going to be the best of those
Yep.
three in
I
terms of
think it
box
will.
office. I am
These
souring
Jurassic
on
World
Superman.
movies-
I have soured on Superman so much. Maybe I'm still hoping it's good, but I'm not as excited about Superman as I was.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on this one.
And by the
I
way,
want it
James
to be
Gunn is
good.
directing. By the way, I just need everybody to understand James Gunn is directing. Because
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. It's not because it's plastered every fucking where.
Wait, it's a James Gunn movie?
Yeah, it's a James Gunn
What?
movie. I didn't know. Yeah, he's actually going to be. He's going to cast himself like in the Nutty Professor. He's going to be all of the fucking characters in the movie.
Ultraman is James Gunn.
God,
Probably wants
see-
to cast himself as Superman's underwear.
He's gonna voice Crypto.
He's super humble guy.
Yeah, oh,
for
yeah.
Marvel, though, Fantastic Four is their one big hope for the year because Cap 4 is already flopped. Thunderbolts is probably not going to make.
I don't
much
think
of an
that one's
impact
going to
one
make.
way or another.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
Fantastic
it's
Four's their
probably
best
not going
shot.
to be. I don't think it's going to be a terrible movie. I just think no one's going to give a shit about it.
Yeah.
So it's probably not going to do well. Ironheart's going to be a disaster. Daredevil is shaping up to be a bit of a disaster in the ratings, even if people are liking what they're seeing.
No one's watching.
And so all you've got is Fantastic Four.
Oh,
And if that flops,
I think
they're fucked.
I think Daredevil ratings wise is probably going to hold a lot better than a lot of these other shows because even though it does seem like people are disappointed, I think they're going to stay tuned in longer than they would for Agatha or whatever. But yeah, the problem with that is the expectations surrounding it. And, you know, these characters, these actors in these characters that people really do care about and have very good memories of. And even if people didn't have faith, the idea that maybe they could pull it off had some people like a little bit hesitantly, okay, let's see what happens. And the fact that it didn't even chart, that it didn't even get as many viewers as Agatha, like it didn't chart second week either. Here's the second week right there.
Other way.
Yeah.
X-ray go. Other way. Thank you. So we can see the whole list. Yeah. Here is Samba TV. So it's different than Nielsen's. We'll have Nielsen ratings. We'll have to look that out. But this is the second week in a row where there is a show missing. I can't think of what it is. Oh wait, Moana 2. Moana 2
got the Disney Plus one.
Yeah. Moana 2 like broke fucking massive records.
Dude.
So it had like 28 million views or something in the first whatever.
By the way, if you're not watching 1923, you should be. It's
Great
fucking.
It's great except for one scene which is fucking retarded.
Yes.
Bro, Craven the Hunter doing numbers.
Yeah. Let's get Craven 2.
That's amazing.
I also think about this. How much do you think Netflix paid Sony for the rights to stream Craven the Hunter? But $50 million, maybe.
Maybe.
And they spent 6 times that much on Electric State, and they're basically getting the same pull.
Yeah.
And that's when it comes back to when you start to look at the numbers surrounding this streaming game and how you can get so fucked by paying so much for this original content.
Dude, Drinker mentioned it in his video. You could pay for, what is it, 20-something Godzilla -1s for Electric State. And
yes,
$320 million will get you a 1-month premium subscription for the entire city of Los Angeles and New York for $320 million. I did the math on Happy Meals, but I forgot it. Like, it could buy you so much shit. Electric State, remember that? We reviewed it last week, and I've completely forgotten the movie. But
absolute dog shit. I just remember, what the hell's her name? Millie Bobby Brown playing like the world's oldest, shot-out looking teenager that I've ever seen.
the thing is, she's 21 years old.
I know. She just looks older than she is. I don't get it.
It's her blonde hair. Her blonde hair. You think she's gotten plastic surgery?
It does make her look different. Yeah.
Yeah, the blonde hair makes her look bad.
Also, I think the people who cast her think she looks younger than how she actually looks.
Yeah. Some people could
just
look.
They watch season 1 of Stranger Things. And
yeah, exactly.
She's
still that little girl. She's like, no, she's not.
The final season of Stranger Things is going to be weird.
It's going to be really weird when everybody's got beards, including Millie Bobby Brown.
I can't fucking wait.
Hey, real quick I want to ask you a question, Gary, on 1923.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's dragging out too much to get Spencer there? Like, this is a fucking massive payoff they're going to have to deliver on.
Oh, he's going to come in. He's going to have to come in like the fucking Punisher, dude.
That's what I'm thinking.
With Tommy guns. And,
they have to. The payoff has to be fantastic,
and
I think it will. Yeah. I mean, this motherfucker has to go in there and go fucking ham for a full episode on everybody.
Full Rambo. I mean, like Tommy guns, fucking knives, coming out of the desert. He's all painted up and he's just like cutting people from stem to stern. You know, fuck yeah, that's what I want.
That's the concern I have is the build up. I don't know if they're gonna get the payoff.
Dude, it's
on
been
this.
a
If they
season
do,
and a half.
It's gonna be great.
Well,
I know.
Yeah. Melissa said it best when she's like, this show gives me anxiety, but I can't stop watching it.
Well, I'm like, every week, I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Like, I've been saying this since the fucking first season. I'm ready for Spencer to get there. And then it's like, I'm in season 2 now, and I'm like, this motherfucker ain't gonna get it to the finale. Damn it.
Yep. What else? Another thing that's good that Ryan and I couldn't cover this week because of Snow White, which is Reacher is pretty good. Reacher is pretty good. I'm liking this one better than season 2 for sure. Not as good as season 1, but I'm liking it more than season 2. I gotta like dive back into Severance. I got up to episode 3 of the first season.
It's pretty
my
good.
wife loves it.
It's pretty intriguing.
Well, that's the issue. It's mystery box, right? So it makes you feel as if something's going on. There's nothing going on. There's no answers. We get to the end of season 2, still doesn't really give you any answers to anything. But it always feels as if something's happening because it makes you interested in the characters. It keeps getting weirder, but it's the same as Lost. I don't think it'll ever wrap up to something satisfying.
I don't think they ever do. I think when it's built like that and it's like always built around the mystery, the actual revelation is never going to live up to your expectations. But
and that pisses me off
along the way.
That's why I jumped off of Lost as soon as after season 2, where I realized, they're just replacing one mystery for another. I'm done because I actually like a good mystery, especially when there's a great payoff and an explanation that explains all the weird kind of things previous. Doctor Who actually did pretty damn good at that in the early seasons, right? But when it's just like no creativity and it's just, something cheap that they're pushing back, it's like, well, I'm not even going to give Severance a try.
When you mentioned Reacher, though, in the entire series, and to something small that you already knew.
Yeah.
When you mentioned Reacher, though, I've just found myself struggling to get the enthusiasm to start season 3. I don't know what it is. Like, I think season 2 was such a disappointment. I was just like, oh man, I don't know if I want to get back into this now.
I watched the first episode of Reacher and I didn't like it, so I just stopped.
Reacher is a guy drifting into town, beating the fuck out of bad guys and getting laid. I mean, it's the most basic shit. And then moving on.
It's not anything groundbreaking.
Yeah.
It's stories we've seen perpetuated over time again and again. It's kind of a Western arc, stuff like this. But despite everyone saying, well, Alan Ritchson said the same things he said for 8 years, but I just heard it now, so I'm not watching, or whatever it may be. It has a bigger audience than it did for season 1 or season 2. It's one of the only things that's grown in its 3rd season of all this shit out there. Has more viewers than season 2 of Rings of Power, apparently, despite them spending probably about 5 times as much money on it.
Yeah, like to hype you up for season 3, like it's not as good as like Terminal List is phenomenal. That is
Terminal List is better, yeah.
Is a better show. It sucks that like the next season's going to be a prequel, but that's what we get. But it's just like a really solid 7 out of 10 show. That's what it is. It's just a really reliable show that's not going to be full of fucking stupid woke shit or intersectional shit.
You're going to get a couple like dumb, cheesy one-liners that might make you like chuckle a little, and you're going to get a bunch of dudes getting fucking killed.
Yes.
I'll take
it.
Episode
6 was the kind of Rambo style scene, Gary.
Yep.
Yeah,
I love that.
That was fucking awesome.
The guy kills death by wench, so
yeah, winch, not wench.
Wench, same thing.
Wench. I don't think beating him with a woman.
Like, is that chlamydia?
I don't see myself ever getting into that show, so I'll leave it alone. So, but it's not because of Alan Rickman, like Rickman, whatever his name is. He's a fucking retard. But all of these people in these shows are retards in real life. Everybody needs to understand that they're all fucking retarded.
A lot of push for him to be DCU Batman.
There seems to be,
one is like he obviously is one of the only people who's built like a comic book Batman.
Yes.
A
modern comic book Batman.
There's no muscle suit for that, dude. Like, he's got it all going on.
I mean, he could play multiple superheroes and it would be a good role.
He was in that.
He was Hawk.
Name was
Hawk and Dove.
Yeah, Hawk. In the Robin suit. Yeah.
The guy that played Spencer Dutton is being called to do it too.
He could do it too. He could do it too.
Be phenomenal, I think. I don't know Brandon something. I don't know his fucking name, but he's got a weird name.
I don't know if I've seen Alan Ritchson have like completely the. I don't know if he could pull off Bruce Wayne. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen that from him.
Yeah, he doesn't really have the suaveness and the sophistication you need for Bruce Wayne.
Like I maybe he can, and maybe there's other stuff he's in I haven't seen it in, but that's just my instincts. I think he could pull off Batman pretty fucking well, but that's only half the character.
A brooding orphan.
If Jensen Ackles did it, because I know he voices them in some stuff. And there was the unfortunate Gotham where he said he would have played it, but he didn't have enough time in his schedule to actually play it. But he's always said that if anyone offered him Batman, he'd take it.
I mean, at this point, we're probably going to get another version of Batman before we get the Batman 2.
I don't think so. Andy Muschietti is working on like something else completely before he sees the first run at the like that got delayed too. Batman Brave and the Bold,
because they cannot put out 2 Batman movies within 2 years of each other. They just
Warner
can't.
Brothers is a fucking.
They're such a fucking. They're so fucking retarded, dude.
It really is amazing.
They get a hit, and the first thing they do is the follow-up's 5 years later, and it's supposed to be Batman Year 2. Oh, and by the way, James Gunn's going to steal the villain from that movie, Clayface, and make a solo villain. But there's nothing going on between these two at all. They're totally buzzed.
And then by the way, we're gonna do like a fucking random spin-off of a fucking minor character from that first Batman movie with Colin Farrell caked in makeup. And that turns out to be the best thing they've made in like a decade.
No shit. And then and then there's rumors of Colin Farrell playing Sergeant Rock. So he's going to steal one of Matt Reeves' fucking actors from his show. There's nothing going on. They totally are best buds. Totally. Real quick, because this is a gaming channel and I am the king of game.
Oh boy, here we go.
King of gaming. There's a little game called Assassin's Creed. Jeremy, you had a tweet that went a little viral. Yeah. If you're gonna pull that up,
gay black samurai.
Yeah, because
hooking up with a they them.
That's what every Japanese person wants to see when they play their Japanese game about Japanese feudalism. Is some Gay Black
not
Central
just
weird.
that, he hooks up with the daughter of the emperor.
Nobunaga's sister.
Yeah, Oda Nobunaga's daughter, who 18 other Japanese emperors are descended from her.
Yeah.
In real life, so.
And that got mentioned in their parliament. Like, they actually,
Yeah, I
it's
get
really
it's
pissed off when
becoming
you
an-
start messing with the emperor.
Japan's going to declare fucking war against Ubisoft.
It's becoming an international incident, this thing. It's
I love
This
it.
is such a
I
funny
absolutely
scene.
love it.
The
I can't
look
hear it.
he,
I
the,
can't-
no,
We
the-
need to hear it though to be able to like really understand when he like go back to the beginning. We got to go to when this fucking freak opens his mouth and you realize this ain't feudal Japan. This is modern day Thailand ladyboys.
Oh.
I do not think I've ever seen you quite so tongue-tied.
Oh,
Not yet, at least.
Oh.
Do you think someone might see us?
I have a penis.
They're going to be sword fighting, all right?
Nobody
Here
has
goes
a
the look.
BBC.
Here goes the look.
It's not gay if no one can see you.
Right here.
Not at all.
Right, here it goes.
Oh my
No!
God.
Oh, a meme was born.
There's your brave, masculine black samurai.
I see that
folks.
you are prolapsed.
Getting pegged.
Oh my God.
Like I think the most shocking thing about this entire situation, like we knew there was gonna be a lot of crazy shit. I didn't think Ubisoft was gonna care so much about showing us like the origin of how AIDS came to Asia.
There you
Oh my
have it.
Oh, well, I mean, they did. They want to be historically accurate,
Why
Ryan.
are you gay?
Oh man. So
Like,
listen,
it's your
so
first gay black fucking protagonist, and he goes around Japan fucking every gay dude he sees.
from
Some of these are like historical characters. Like one of the other gay romances is an actual historical figure who had a wife and children and things like that. Nobunaga's sister is married, like, and he's just the black bull who's running around Japan inseminating everything he sees.
Lowering credit scores left and right.
See, I believe that there's 4 possible romance options in the game, and so 2 of
3 are
them are
men.
gay, one of them is with a transgender or non-binary person, and the other one is with a woman, like as a distant third place. So
Sounds about right for modern gaming
like,
industry.
we know what your priorities are,
Yeah.
Ubisoft.
You talked about the Japanese government. They've been doing a lot of pushback. There was, I don't know if they have a parliament or a fucking house. I don't know what they fucking do there in Japan. But they had people speaking about this game and like looking to take action against this game because of some of the ways that the shrines were being depicted, and they're very respected shrines.
They're
that-
run by
these
ninjas.
mirrors that supposedly contain the souls of their ancestors or whatever they believe about what was happening to it. And Ubisoft has been going through this backlash, getting pushback for that exact shit for months now. They haven't made a single fucking statement about the disrespect to Japan, but there was a day one patch they silently applied, didn't announce, didn't talk about, that moved the ability to try to like pacify the Japanese government.
I mean, I've got the clip here of some of them talking about.
Yeah,
this.
wasn't there some temple that they're saying they didn't have the rights to show this temple or commercially?
Yeah, that's
and-
in this.
There was 2 things, because there was the figures that they sold, like the vinyl figures of this game's characters, and one of them was perched on top of a half-destroyed Torii Gate, which is a very important symbol for Japanese people of the bombings of Hiroshima. So, you know, funnily enough, they're still a bit salty about that sort of thing, and they don't like to see it getting bastardized by some game studio from the West.
Yeah, they call it a symbol. We call it a reminder. All right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Little
well,
difference.
So I just dropped a link
Come on.
in the private chat, but so there is a better game out there that's more historically accurate, and it's made by historically accurate developers. That's their name. So with that being their name, that means that has to be historically accurate. This is the Yasuke Simulator right here that just released on Steam yesterday. So this is the historically accurate one. Go ahead and play it.
I am Oda Nobunaga. I am daimyo. You shall be my samurai. Yasuke, you will help me unify Japan. Go now to the streets. Fight your way up to Takatenjin Castle,
right here,
controlled by the Takeda clan.
Hold it up.
Oh my God.
There we go. So that's the end
beautiful.
right there. So that is available on Steam. I'm going to be playing that this weekend, along with Xenoblade Chronicles X. Those are what. So fuck that game. Fuck the Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Do you have that game, X-Ray Girl?
No, not yet.
that is
the first one, yeah.
But that is made by historically accurate developers. That's their name.
Yes.
So it must be true. Everything that's in that game must be true. So this is such a shit show for Ubisoft. And so Ubisoft, as I told you, I was telling you this the other day, Gary, they need a grand slam right now with Assassin's Creed Shadows, and they don't have anybody on base. So even if this game is a home run, even if it sells several million copies, it's not going to save them. They are DOA. And I think that this game is probably going to perform fairly well. It's going to sell several million copies because it's an Assassin's Creed, title. And these, even though they've had diminishing returns in the last few, it's going to sell decent. And the media is going to put a spin on that, just like they did with Last of Us Part 2. But it's their, I don't know. I think they have 6 months, you think, Ryan, before they're
this is probably like it needs to be over 10 million sales.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're looking at for this game. They said it needs to sell strong even for the franchise. If it sells modestly or moderately, and that's within perspective of the franchise, that it's essentially we're fucked at Ubisoft. This determines
it's a huge
that they are fucked
for this thing, because wasn't it like between 250 and 300 million dollars to develop?
Yeah, that's the
more
rumor.
than
That's
that.
the rumor. I heard 350 is what I heard as a rumor to develop. But
they have a strong start. There's over 1 million users playing it. Not
Yeah,
sold,
they didn't say a million
users.
sold. They didn't announce 1 million sold, 1 million players.
Yeah.
Whatever
at
that
the
may
bottom
mean.
of that
Yes.
tweet too.
But I think that, because again, I think Valhalla, Odyssey and Valhalla are probably sitting there like around 12 million copies, somewhere.
And that's like you're included. This is including like multi-platform and everything. So like Steam,
Correct.
PC,
And the
PlayStation
Steam
5,
like-
Xbox.
Again, on Steam, it's performing extraordinarily poor for what we kind of expected. It's not even going to match up to something like Dragon Age: The Veilguard. The caveat is, I do think there's probably a lot more console Assassin's Creed players in general.
Well, is it on Game Pass?
I don't think it's on Game Pass. Now it's on Ubisoft on like Ubi
That's
Plus
right.
or
Yeah,
Ubi
yeah.
Plus
So
Plus.
Ubi Plus. Yeah.
Right, which they have a subscription service, which I don't know how many subscribers they have, but it's not on Game Pass. No.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, this is between the disaster for Snow White, and then now Ubisoft has their own disaster out right now. But there is some good stuff out there, and plus the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal is in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait for that. So, but Ubisoft is fucked. They deserve to be fucked. And I saw a meme that Pirate Nation posted earlier. Somebody posted a picture of like Yasuke standing there with like another character. I can't remember what it was, and the comment said, "This is what gamers want," and then someone responded, "Exactly, Ubisoft dead." So we'll see how it all plays out. But Gary, you gonna play it?
Sure.
Is it a hard game?
I'm playing it tonight.
Honestly, I played like the first 2 or 3 hours of it, and it's 90% cutscenes. I barely got to actually do anything.
Yeah, I mean that's the only I haven't been a big Assassin's Creed player. I played Odyssey. What was your favorite one, Ryan? I know you played them.
Black Flag is probably my favorite. Like obviously all the Ezio games was like I played the first one, but the Ezio games were where I like super got into it. Those are some of the first ones that came out. Assassin's Creed 3 was then the one that was set in America, like during the Revolution. I like that game probably more than some of the other people did, but where you started in is where Assassin's Creed very much changed, and they tried to change it into this fake RPG light type of thing, where Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, like those games sold, well, not Origins, Odyssey sold like over 10 million copies, Valhalla sold over 10 million copies, but a lot of the hardcore Assassin's Creed fans might not be fans of the direction they went because it wasn't what the original Assassin's Creed games were, and it wasn't a good RPG, but it did have mass appeal.
Yeah, I did down with Origins. I've been playing it from the beginning. I love Ezio's storyline. It is a really good series of games and a great story arc for the character. But yeah, I mean, Origins, I didn't even finish it. I dipped out mainly because they changed it so much. I liked.
You don't like it because they were black, huh?
Well, the storyline was boring, and I didn't like how they changed the gameplay. I liked the more kind of action adventure stealth mechanics that they had before.
They were stealth assassins, and then you turn up, and suddenly you're just walking around in the open, just beating everybody up. Whereas if you got caught by multiple people in the first games, you die because you couldn't.
You basically desynced at that point. That was the whole point, was to be stealthy. It forced you to be an assassin and to be stealthy, and they did away with all those mechanics. And it's like, well, fuck these games, man. I'm done with it.
I mean, I've seen in this new game, there's clips very similar to Star Wars Outlaws, where people find them and then they go prone and just start crawling around.
Yeah.
And the people are like, I don't know where he's gone. Where is she? I can't find her. She's like on the floor in front of him, just
you don't
crawling
even
around
need to
like
be
a
in
worm.
grass.
Yeah,
That's the crazy part.
And that's the thing.
That
It's like the core game mechanics is stealth. How do you fuck it up, Ubisoft?
Since we still have he's Scottish, but you're in the UK. You're part of the kingdom. You want some bad news? Amy Pascal and David Heyman eyed to run James Bond.
Oh my God!
Look at it.
What happened to this report a few weeks ago? I saw where they were talking to Nolan. Did he turn them down or something?
So
I think that was a rumor.
That is an
Show
old
the picture.
story about there being potential interest between the old purveyors of the Bond franchise and Christopher Nolan.
Oh, okay, so that wasn't an updated
Barbara
story.
Broccoli.
Remind me again why they suck.
Well, the last one I heard was that obviously Nolan wants to do a Bond film, but because they wouldn't give him final say, then he wouldn't take it.
So this
exactly.
This would my guess. This would be like for churning out content for Bond shows, maybe movie, but like Amy Pascal, famous for getting fired from Sony after the Sony leaks for saying some shit about Obama, which I thought was funny.
Also, the mind behind Ghostbusters 2016.
Yes, she was
indeed. Yes,
she was the mind behind the coke-addled
She's the one who pushed for the female-led Ghostbusters.
Yes, she
Which
was.
fits perfectly with what Amazon wants for Bond. That will be Bond's vision.
She's like a crazy loony fucking feminist type. I think she's the one actually working with Greta Gerwig on Narnia, right?
Yep. And she threw a sandwich at Kevin Feige.
What kind of sandwich?
I don't know. At least she had a sandwich in her hand.
That was always
Did she make the sandwich? That's the question.
Did people point out as well, like during the Sony leaks, like every time she writes an internal email, it's all caps and she doesn't use any punctuation. Right? Like a fucking toddler writes it.
I don't have time to use grammar, quite frankly.
Before this, there has been a lot of articles of people going, well, I would have worked with Barbara, but now Amazon's taking it. I don't care. This has been Amazon's problem all along. Nobody respects them in entertainment because they all see them as like, you just sell toilet paper. And so they don't have first choice with the people they'd want. These are kind of the runners-up.
These are the runners-up. And Bond, well, R.I.P. James Bond. It was a good run, and it's over. Very sad about it. But... yeah, hopefully, like there's a no-brainer out there that we've all asked for. Pierce Brosnan as fucking old man Bond would just make $1 billion. It would fucking do great. Everybody would love it, but no. All right, we're gonna get to soups. You guys ready? Everybody okay?
Do the soups.
All right, we're gonna start rolling.
I thought you meant in life.
No, I give a fuck how you're doing in life. I meant the show.
I was gonna call you gay.
You're fucking adults, man. Handle your shit. I don't care. I got kids.
Gary doesn't even tell me when streams are canceled. He's just like, figure that shit out yourself.
Yeah, well, you know what? You did, didn't you?
I did, yeah, actually.
Yeah, so I told
literally, Gary, we usually do our Reacher streams at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. I was pretty sure it wasn't going to happen. I was ready. I watched it, and I made sure my time was good and I could be available then. But I was pretty sure Gary, after watching Snow White, was going to get really wrapped up and making a review for that and like doing all this shit. And he texts me at like 9:30, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, no Reacher tonight." Should have told you earlier. My gosh, I figured.
I got all wrapped up. Dude, I get like when I get I am such. Listen, I'm retarded. So like when I get locked into my little OCD fucking hyper focusing, I like the rest of the world just falls by the wayside. My wife can attest to that. Like our housekeeper, because I can't clean myself because I'm retarded. Our housekeeper came over. And I paid her like twice the amount I should have because I didn't even fucking pay attention to what was in my wallet, which is terrible.
I just got the money.
So she calls me, goes, Mr. Kenny, you pay me too much. And I'm like, oh, just hit me.
At least she's honest.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
She's brilliant. So it's like, pay me next time. But fuck.
Oh, Mr. Nerdrotic.
Yeah, I forget to eat. I forgot to eat yesterday, too. I'm really hungry right now.
All day.
Yeah, all day. I forgot to eat. Yeah.
No, that is a true gamer. You just get
Yeah.
I forgot to eat. But yeah, it's been fucking nuts. But yeah, I think the Snow White video will be out hopefully by Sunday or Monday, the way it's going right now. But let's go to Roland the Wretched, he of the waxed balls.
Yeah.
3 parts for $75. Roland! So yesterday was the perfect shitstorm for the world of media. Dirt Brown dropped in theaters. UB Flaccid Assassin's Crap DEI was dropped for gamers. And Bob Iger dropped an investor's call. I really can't decide which turd was the shiniest of the lot. Speaking of ass, he spells it like this, ass in Creed, crap, sorry, DEI. Did Jeremy and Beardo write the dialogue from the real life expression when the BBC bends over for the non-binary? Oh, okay. Another question, did Jeremy and Beardo do the voices for that scene? Jeremy, remember you have a job to do in Vegas.
What?
What?
I don't know what that.
What job?
He's all, wait a minute. Hold up.
Balls waxed again.
Wait a
Slow
minute.
down there, buddy. Slow down there.
Hold up.
Somebody right.
Wait a minute.
He's growing the ball hair out, so it'll be easy for you to wax.
Just for you.
Right, extra girl. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do that again, Roland, like, well, I don't know, you can't live stream it. They probably not like that. Well, there might be some places you can live stream it. You should.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine getting my balls waxed, man. Like, how you work with all that stretchy material?
2 hands at
hold
least.
it back.
No.
Well, how many fucking hands you have? What do you mean 2 hands?
How fucking bored do you have to be to wax your balls?
It's usually older men. Okay, I'm putting it out there.
They don't even get that hairy. Do they?
You haven't seen some of the ones I've seen.
Send me pictures.
Wow.
X-ray girl just drops there. You have not seen what
To defend X-ray, I don't know if this is defense or not.
Do
This is
that
what
as
she
a
used
job.
to do, right?
Yeah, I know.
She's working to find wax
Context
people.
is important.
It
Context
wasn't
is
an
important.
intimate scenario in that sense. No.
Ball reviews.
Third part, the emus are sending an ultimatum to Britain. They demand you take your royals back or they will conquer your island like they have already conquered your penal colony. Don't forget, well, somebody else is conquering Britain right now, so you have competition.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take
I don't think you're
a
going to
number.
want to conquer Britain after these guys are done with it.
Don't forget, Ian does a members only movie every other day, Tuesday, and it's great time. There you go.
It is. Yeah.
Shout
We're
out
doing
to
hot
Ian.
shots.
Yeah.
Noons, our friend who was a female who I called a dude for many years, has gifted 50 Nerdrotic memberships, $250. Thank you, Noons. He's up. And Master Austin has gifted 20 Nerdrotic memberships for $100. Thank you, Master Austin. Ryan Crawford for $49.99. This is proper British money. Thank you. Cheers. At least it's worth more than the American dollar for now. Huge respect to the last pilot in the Battle of Britain. He died on Paddy's Day. Oh, respect.
That is true. He did, yeah.
As Admiral Benson said, I have personally flown over 194 missions, and I was shot down on every one. Come to think of it, I never landed in a place in my life. That's great.
That's from Hot Shots. Remember?
Yeah.
It?
Oh, yes.
Like Bridges.
Oh my God. And we're
His
doing
delivery there is amazing,
dude. I completely forgot that one. And we're in the comedy arc mode. I should remember that.
Yeah.
I can't spill the beans. We just did a great movie, which might be the greatest comedy of all time.
Ooh.
Oh, so good. Ministry of Wrong Thing for $49.99. Hey, LFG. So let me get this straight. The actor who plays Grumpy in Snow White, Martin Kleba, is literally a dwarf in real life. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So they used CGI dwarves to not be offensive, but then used a real life dwarf to voice the CGI dwarf. What the fuck?
And
that is
one of the bandits is a dwarf as well.
Correct.
Yeah, that one
with
kind
the
of
most
threw
lines.
me. I was like, okay, so they have fantasy dwarves and then just normal human dwarves in the same. Okay.
And I feel like it's especially Martin Kleba. I feel like they probably did that just to make sure they included an actual dwarf in the dwarves. I think the rest of them, because they did it all mocap, right?
Yeah.
It's not just straight CGI. It is mocap for these guys. And that's one of the things Martin Kleba, like, he auditioned for this role over 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. And when they were supposed to be motion capture CGI, which is one of the reasons we do know that they were always kind of meant to be that way. But yeah, it's fucking shocking what they did. And regardless of it was whether in response to Peter Dinklage or just because they were being that fucking sensitive and retarded on their own, it's a horrible decision.
And Kleber has been very diplomatic in his interviews because he's clearly touting for work. He keeps talking about how in Marvel we need less than perfect specimens of humanity and masculinity in the movies. Just hire me in one of them. I can be a superhero.
That guy we were on with Piers Drinker. I got cut off. But I was going to ask him because he really went hard on Peter Dinklage, which he should, but
he's been going hard on him for 4 years.
Yeah, but the thing is, it was Disney who didn't cast the dwarves. They didn't have to listen to fucking Peter Dinklage if they did, but he was begging for a job from him in the same interview. He's like, I'm a Disney adult. I love Disney movies. Cast me. It's like, dude, they're the ones you should be pissed at.
Yeah.
They should cast him as fucking Rapunzel or something.
Yep. Well, maybe he could be recast as Mini-Me.
It was fucking
R.I.P.
surreal to be on a call with Hornswoggle from the WWE, though. Just
Good old
like,
Hornswoggle. It was-
having these
Snow
deep
White.
and meaningful conversations with him.
It was, oh, you weren't there for that show. It was as surreal as we were talking about the Bob Geldof African controversy, and then I'm on there with 3 black people, and then Pierce goes to me, and I'm like,
I am an expert on Africa.
Jesus.
Well, I have spent some time in prison.
Imagine if you dropped that on Pierce. That would have been.
I almost. I wish I would have. Who's the? I keep forgetting his name. Who's the guy that the contrarian who wrote?
Ernest.
Ernest.
Yeah.
When Ernest was bitching at me about Black Panther, and he said you just liked it so you could have black friends or something like that. This is one of the jokes I deeply regret leaving on the floor. It's like, bro, I've been to prison. I'm blacker than you.
Your butthole's black.
Everybody says. 07 Darty for 50 euros. Is that real money? I'm just kidding. Of course it is. That's true. But you know what? You Brits, wisely so, said, fuck no. Why in the hell would we do that?
One of the few correct decisions we made in the last 100 years.
Is there anything not weird about Snow White and new AC? Oh, Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed.
I'm there. Also, what's the deal with 198? Genuine question. The 198. May you all have a lovely day and weekend. And Shad, may your
Machicolations.
Hold form and well. Yeah, the 198 is a big meme over at Geeks and Gamers, the 198.
Yeah, the good old 198.
Is it a splinter group?
It's a
rebel faction.
It's like Civil War star.
It's like NWO and then NWO Wolfpack.
It's
the Wolfpack.
It's a fundamentalist faction of the 199. Yes. Griff.
Hey, if you go to Meta PCs, you can use the promo code 199. Or Nerdrotic, you can use that one. Don't use Ryan's code. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
him.
or RK Outpost. This dumb cocksucker been making me push 199 and not to use my own the whole time. You fucking bitch.
Oops, did I forget to tell you? Silly me.
I heard you and Jay went on a rant about that the other day. So
That was pretty
If you
funny.
would have showed up to the Mario Kart stream, you would have known.
Well, look, I put in a lot of effort even to click on the fucking notification, watch 5 minutes of it, which is why I then realized that all these fucking losers are pimping their own codes. And Jeremy's sitting there encouraging. I'm like, what the fuck? I've been pushing this 199 code.
I think my code's even in there, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
That's fucking great. Hail Meta PCs. Griff Nizzle, 5 parts for $100. I gotta read long here. Pray for me. Daredevil Born Again episode 4 pissed me off so much that now I'm gonna spend my hard-earned cash to rant about it. Cox and Bernthal were great. Love that scene. But Matt Murdock cucking to Leroy fucking Bradford nearly made me throw up. Yeah, I almost threw something at the screen during our watch party. It was funny watching the chat in my watch party just descend into madness. Like they're all like 3. They started out like 4 out of 10 episode, and as it goes on, 2 out of 10. 2 out of 10 with one good scene. 0 out of 10. Motherfucker complains that he's stealing shit, and being in jail prevented him from stealing even more shit because he lost some of his SSI benefits. And this is the writer's mic drop argument. Yes. They's gonna spend 5 times the cost to jail me than feed me. So the options: use the government weapon to my head to feed your lazy ass, or the government weapon to my head to pay for you to go get your shit pushed in. Sounds like Ryan. I'll take option B. But to be fair, government waste is government waste. Simple solution: put the Punisher on Doge. Now, instead of 5 times the cost of incarceration, Mr. Bradford only costs $2 for a spear gold dot solution.
That was painful to get through.
I don't know what that was.
That's a fucking novel. That wasn't a super chat.
We're not done. We're not done.
It's Gary's reading of it is painful.
And yes,
really bad. I listen to Beardo read super chat, so you know it's bad if I think yours is painful.
Hey. Making fun of me because I'm retarded.
Gary thought that was too far. You mentioned Beardo. He's like, hey, no.
Fuck you, motherfucker. You're dead to me.
The way Gary struggles through super chats is similar to the way Michael J. Fox struggles
through
come
on. Wow.
It's the same type of feeling, like the herky-jerkiness.
At least it wasn't Michael J. Fox's fault, and my struggles are my fault. So
did you ever see his
That's what
comedy
your book
series?
title should have been, Gary. My struggles.
Yeah. Oh, next one.
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox
sequel.
did a sitcom, and he said we're not gonna like shy away from the topic. So in the very first episode, he comes along with a whole like load of cups and tea and stuff, and he's there shaking as he's going to the
That's
tournament.
awesome.
They just fuck all over the place.
That's good attitude. I like that. And yes, I just spent $100 to rant about a TV show, but at least this was a
voluntary.
Thank you, X-Ray Girl. It's hard enough that I can't read and I'm functionally illiterate, but when she misspells words that I could pronounce sometimes, it makes it harder. Voluntary exchange. I'll give this to DDBA, Daredevil Born Again writers. They've just proven conclusively that the taxation is in fact theft. Absolutely. And well, so is Doge and USAID's. Richard Swinburne has gifted 10 Nerdrotic memberships for $50. Thank you very much. Thank you. Double watch parties this week. Of course, Daredevil, sorry. And then we're going to finally finish up Clarkson's Farm and get ready for season fucking 4. I can't wait. Yarmoth for 50. Hail FNT Crew, a very important correction. Assassin's Creed is made by Ubisoft. Is it Ubisoft or Ubisoft? Ubisoft Montreal. Well, that explains a lot. It is a French-Canadian company, so you can't expect much. I'm an Assassin's Creed fanboy, unfortunately, so I'll play it and let you all know next week. Pizza's on me. All right, I want pineapple. I want Canadian bacon. Even if it's communist Canadian bacon, some jalapenos, some olives.
Pepperoni. Just give me pepperoni.
Throw in some buffalo sauce. I hurt myself to feel. Dark Schwartz Rising for $19.99. Drinker might be my favorite guest on this show. If only he understood the wonder that is Interstellar. Fuck, you had to bring it up, dude.
Hell yeah.
Opened a can of worms right there.
Hell yeah.
That's a discussion for a whole separate video.
My favorite movie of all time.
How is that your favorite movie of all time?
How many times have you seen it?
Once.
Jeremy, did I tell you I
Exactly.
watched
I
it?
knew you were going to say that. No, I didn't know you watched it.
I'm just kidding. I'm not going
I
to.
didn't think you would. The fact that exactly you've seen it one time.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. It's like
Yes.
I don't hate it as much as everybody else, but I'm just like, not as best.
Well, everybody doesn't.
You
hate
like it
It's-
better than The Prestige?
I didn't say is it a better movie than The Prestige? See, these are two different questions you're asking me. Favorite film doesn't mean best movie of all time. It means it's my favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
Now again, it's a broken record at this point in time. My
Yes.
daughter was the same age as Murph when that movie came out. I am a father. I have a daughter. It's a father-daughter movie. That's what it is. That is as simple as you can put that movie. You want to bring the space stuff into it and all of that, that's true. But the core meaning
Why
of
was
the
you
movie
bringing
is
the
a
space stuff
father-daughter
in a
movie.
movie called Interstellar? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Thousands of movies that would fulfill that.
I'm just
if that
kidding.
was the only
Well,
I
I
get
get
it.
that, but Interstellar takes it to a whole different level. Like, what movie is gonna that gives you the father-daughter connection like that movie does? Name it. It doesn't exist. Name it off the top of your head. Go.
Hustlers.
Go.
Well,
you just said
I've
that-
been ranking father-daughter
Name it.
movies off the top of my
Name
head.
it. There's not another movie that has a father-daughter connection that hits on that level. Hans Zimmer's score is absolutely incredible. There's no CG in the movie for the most part, very minimal CG, so everything feels real. The science in the movie is pretty damn accurate. You got Kip Thorne that worked on the science of the movie. I've watched all of these breakdowns of the black hole and all of the stuff, the physics involved in it and everything like that. The thing that loses people is when he falls into the black hole and goes into the Tesseract. And a lot of people think that a fucking Tesseract is something from a fucking Marvel movie, by the way. They're like,
Yeah.
well, that's not a Tesseract. 'cause it's
Five-dimensional shape.
not
It's
what
the fact
Loki holds.
Four-dimensional.
And it's like, Jesus Christ, that's not what a Tesseract is. That's not where it was first created, was a fucking Marvel movie. But a lot of fucking Marvel fans think that's where it was created from. It's
Stan
actually
Lee
something-
created everything.
Yeah, exactly. So, so that's where a lot of people kind of veer off on that movie when he falls into the black hole, and it's a time loop. That's what it is. It's a time loop. So there's a lot of questions that people get confused on. I got confused on the movie the first time I watched it. I didn't understand all of that. It didn't make sense to me. But as you watch the movie multiple times, it all comes together. So
I love
anyway.
the fact that his son just gets completely forgotten about by both
That's
the
not
story
true.
and by him.
That's not true. That is absolutely not
You're
true.
not smart like Murph is.
No.
So fuck
No.
you.
No.
Go farm
Okay.
some more corn.
So
bitch.
why does he ask about Murph in the end? Why?
Well, he has to know about Murph because she's the one who's got the formula that he's trying to transmit to her through the Tesseract.
Why did he ask about Murph in the end? Answer the question. Because
she
he didn't-
survived.
No. He asks, go watch the scene. He says, is she still alive? Based on them saying that Cooper Station is named after your daughter. He didn't wake up and say, where's Murph? Fuck my son. He says, Cooper Station, how nice of you to name it after me. Sir, the son, it's not named after you. It's named after your daughter. That's what triggers him to say, is she still alive? If they would have said it's named after your son, he would have said, is he still alive? He went to school. He fought for his son to get an education. He was mad that they didn't want to give him further education. He left the entire farm to his son. He left the truck to his son. He left all the responsibilities to his son, not his daughter, because she wasn't emotionally equipped to deal with it at that point in time. So that's just incorrect. And he only asked about his daughter in the end because they said that the station is named after her. He didn't just wake up and say, where's Murph? Where's Murph? Where's Murph? It was based on them saying that they named the station after her. That's it.
You know,
I've seen this
remember what I
movie
was
way
saying
too many
about,
times.
Like, opening a can of worms when we talk about
I know it. I know it. But yeah, that's true. Everybody says that. Oh, why didn't he ask about his son in the end? They said the station is named after your daughter. If they would have said it's named after your son, he would have said the same thing. That's what triggered it. Now, if you want to talk about, I think the editing is really sloppy in the end. Right there where he sees Murph, I think that's a really weird scene. There's theories out there that he truly did die when he went into the black hole, and everything that he saw after the black hole was him experiencing death. which triggers back to Matt Damon talking about what's the last thing you see when you die. Remember that scene? He asked him that. He directly asked him that. So a lot of theories say that when he goes into the black hole, he dies, and everything after that. Now, I don't believe that theory, by the way, but that's one of the theories out there. Anyway, we'll shut up about it.
Watch The Prestige. It's really good.
It's a phenomenal movie.
I respect your passion, Jeremy.
Ah, yes. I knew you would. I do too.
My boy Shad.
And to be fair, I play favorites with my kids all the time. Whoever hasn't pissed me off.
Hey, that's what I said. Like anybody that doesn't understand that parents have favorites, that's just a fact. Okay. and that's the reality of it. And you can even simplify it down to having pets. If you have multiple pets, everybody has their favorite pet of the two. Like he clearly favored his daughter, and that's just fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. So anyway.
Definitely did her a disservice by naming her Murph. Thought that was the point.
Steve DeLeon for $2 says Jeremy and Beardo. Why did I read this one? Why did I gravitate to Jeremy and Beardo suck dicks?
Prison.
John Murdoch for 50. Sorry, Jeremy. I have to give FNT once in a while.
It's John frickin' Murdoch. That's my boy, John frickin' Murdoch.
Frickin' Murdoch. Thank you,
That's
John
right.
frickin' Murdoch. We appreciate it. Gene the Revenant for $5 says, always great to see Drinker join the panel. Thanks for watching Snow White so we don't have to. Hail FNT and Open Bar. Hail Open Bar, by the way.
You'll see my review tomorrow. Believe that.
Yes.
Oh, it's fun to rip apart. There's so many things.
I can't wait to see it.
You know what? I'm kind of looking forward to putting it behind us after this, though. It's like we've covered it for like so long. It's just a relief that it's fine. It's like a turd that's been a long time coming. Then you can finally squeeze that son of a bitch out, flush the toilet,
It's like one of
and
one of those pellet
Mm.
ones. Yeah, like yeah. Jesus Christ, you're right. You're right. I waited. This is my very first Snow White video. That's just about Snow White. I haven't done one, so I wanted to wait for the movie to come out.
It's actually given me a renewed appreciation for the original. Just
Yes.
because, like, you kind of notice, you know, what you had when it's taken away, and we perhaps don't appreciate just the simplistic truth that's actually in it, because that's what we got that constantly back then. It's like men save women, damsel in distress, traditional roles, everything. And so when it's taken away and people are actively fighting against it, that you realize how important that was.
Yeah. One of the biggest things missing from the original, I didn't mention it earlier, was the animals.
Yes, he doesn't talk to the animals at all.
The animals are like those three birds. You know, like the animals are major characters in this, and they're just they're gone. They're soulless abominations.
They do so much
only
housework.
put in it because they were focused. They were such a focus in the original, so they had to throw them in there and shoehorn them in there. That's all it meant. And they wanted you to have a connection to the animals based on what you remember from the first one, but they don't want to do the work to earn it. Just like everything else in this movie, nothing is earned.
For hanging up her coat.
When she arrives, you know, like when she runs through the forest and gets scared and wakes up, it's dark in the 2025 version, so they can fucking hide the CG, and it's day. You know, she gets it like it starts to become daytime. And you see all the eyes, and you just had this scary, and it's like all these cute animals coming out, and then the deer comes up. Well, they just have the deer come.
All those stupid animals in the face.
I did too. Ryan, I wanted the high evolutionary to come down and do experiments on them. That's what I.
Yeah, that's true. They were just fucking. They were so fucking annoying. She did talk to them in the very beginning, like the very beginning of the movie while she's still in the castle. I think she's talking to them while she's at the well. But that's it. Obviously, they do like play a pretty big role. Like they're the ones that help save her or help her save the bandits, I should say. They're the ones that run and get the dwarves when they know she's in trouble. Like they're in it, but she's not talking to them.
They're in it way more in the original. And the original is just a lot of like sight comedy. That's all it is. It's a lot of and it's great. It's freaking great.
It's cute.
Well, God, the animation's so fucking good.
It still holds up. I mean,
yeah.
And like the amount Disney actually put into that, he mortgaged his own home to do it. It was a big gamble that he really bet
It was
on.
weird to see it was distributed by RKO Pictures and yeah. Oh, I need a little thank you. Like, hey,
at the beginning.
Thanks to my loyal team. of putting this together, and yeah, and then like that movie's fucking old, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about it is there's been interviews where like,
Close to
well, why
90
don't we make
years.
stuff like that now?
Wow.
It's like, well, we can't. We don't have the skills. The same thing in architecture. They show all these really ancient, beautiful buildings, but they don't know how to build them because no one's learned like the structural work. So they walk in like, I don't know how this building's standing up. Doesn't make sense.
They still don't know how to replicate the cathedrals. Remember the cathedrals back in the not medieval times, but early 1300s or something. They built a bunch of crazy cathedrals in Europe. They don't know how to replicate those today.
Yeah.
Even the stained glass, they have no idea how they did it.
I think part of the
It
problem
only
is
takes
as
a
well,
generation.
Like, they took like 200 years to build each one.
Yes,
Back
yes.
then.
Wow.
Time and effort,
Yeah.
man. Time and effort.
Yeah, no, even Elon was talking about with some of the rocket science out there that they've forgotten some of the rocket science from the 60s that they're essentially still using. It's modernized, but
How
it's
is
the
that
basics
possible?
of it because
Well,
those
they
people
don't
died
teach
out and
the
they
next
moved. They
generation.
don't teach the next generation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's lots of it's
Look
like
at
the
Rome.
banking system. A lot of the banks are using really, really old code bases that nobody uses anymore. And so if anything goes wrong, they have to go to like some 80-year-old guy in a forest somewhere who's the only guy that knows this code base.
Yeah.
They daren't touch it or update it because nobody knows how it works.
Some
And they
say
don't
that's the
wanna break
YouTube
into the system.
algorithm too.
Well,
Yes.
it's like you guys remember what happened with the Colonial Pipeline, right? Where it got hacked, and there was like one guy that was basically retired that knew how to do everything manually. Yeah, this is the issue. I mean, as much as I love automation, you still have to understand how things work manually in case shit happens.
And notice
And
it's
that's-
terrifying
manually.
world,
Not
Manual.
willingly.
Yeah.
To be
Well,
relying
typically
on
it's
all
due.
this stuff that we don't even understand how it works anymore. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes, it's entropy. TWF for $50 Australian dollars. Gal Gadot, Evil Queen. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest one of all? Mirror. I watch you get out of the bath and shave your legs every morning. My ethereal erection says you are. Thank you. Ethereal erection. That's a band name right there. I think we need to roll with that.
That's the YouTube channel name.
It is. That's good. Neil Oakley for 50 British pounds proper money. Thank you for the super sticker. We appreciate it. Then we have Void Pocket for $9.99. It says, during the part of the intro song where it shows Quarterback Garrett, is Dan singing Sweet Murder Memory or Sweet Mother Mary? Mammary. Sweet Mother Mammary. It's Sweet Mother Mammary. That's it. Those are the exact lyrics. No, it's Sweet Mother Mary. Or do I need to up my meds? Well, yes, always. And it's neither. Thanks. You guys rock. Yeah, just up the meds, totally. It's always good for you. Lewis Hand for $7.99 Australian. Friday night tights. Nah, today's Friday night pints. Always awesome to see the drinker as he takes. We should remember when we used to have a couple female guests. We call it Friday night tits. When drinker comes on, we should call it Friday night pints. Why not?
Yeah.
No, I don't drink. As he takes over tonight's live stream, he did. Iron Morgan for $20 says, "Hail drinker and FNT crew. How about we fight fire with these woke movies and do a gender swap remake of Brokeback Mountain starring Gal Gadot and Sydney Sweeney, and both starring in the Bros spinoff called Gals." Let's find this right now.
$1 billion movie.
It's a progressive
$1 billion
argument,
movie
you
right
know. I don't see how Hollywood could object.
That's right. I personally, if we could get those two, a couple of those chicks in the movie, I would just prefer not to have any dudes in it at all. Okay, all female led movie starring Sydney Sweeney, Gal Gadot.
Ooh.
That
I think-
Ghostbusters 20s,
I think
whatever.
I think that would sell a lot of tickets. Just saying.
It's just crazy enough to work, Jeremy.
Margot Robbie.
Modern Hollywood hates attractive women, and so they'll get a
They really
cast
do.
away.
They really do.
Yeah, they do.
I'm surprised. Like, I don't know. I mean, I've personally, if I've ever seen a Sydney Sweeney movie, I don't remember anything she said. But is she considered a good actress? Is she even considered a good actress?
Who cares?
I don't care.
Not while I'm paying attention.
Say,
to.
maybe if Gal Gadot got her tits out, then maybe we'd be a little more understanding like we are with Sydney Sweeney.
Should I show you her bikini line collection?
I don't think we're
Yes.
going to complain. I don't think we're
If
going to
you
complain.
insist.
Jesus.
Wait, why did you have that?
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I had talked about it on was it Poor Choices or Morning Roast? I don't remember.
Shad, are you allowed to look at this?
Oh, he's having impure thoughts.
There's a cross.
She's got a cross on, okay?
Sorry.
Yeah, she has a cross on. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. You can look.
Just to draw the eye line.
She's got a bikini on.
Chad, those are her garments. It's completely acceptable.
Hey, that's how God made her, okay? That is one of God's creatures.
He spent a
I
little
believe
extra time on
he
this
wasn't drunk that day either. He did a good job.
Just want to point out, X-Ray Girl's the one who suggested we put this up. All right,
Yeah.
just saying.
If anybody's
immediately
ever
ready to link.
if anybody's ever accused our chat of being like toxic towards women, look how much they respect women. Look at that.
Look
chat,
at this.
okay?
Look at this.
Appreciation.
Look at that
I
respect.
salute you, chat.
They're respecting women multiple times a day based on this picture. Okay?
Oh, Des Roma for $4.99 says, how cute. Gary is acting like this is the first time he's tried to speak with something shoved in his mouth. Sure, buddy. Listen, I never said that. For example, I had your mom in my mouth. And you know what she said to me afterwards? Keep the change. Ministry of Wrong Thing for $4.99.
Nobody's listening to anything Gary
No.
saying.
This is the
Yeah,
perfect
that's
time
on
to
the
read
camp.
super chats. If Chrissy would do that Snow White voice regularly on the channel, I would drop so many more super chats. There you go.
Oh, wow. No, now I'm like confusing it with my Grace voice. Like, hello, animals.
So, True Almighty Outcast for $1.99. How does Jeremy's laugh have a southern accent?
Roll Tide.
There you go. Black Snape Moan 2027 for 20 British pounds. That's good. The new Assassin's Creed romantic motto should be, if this is wrong, I don't want to be right, which is WRIGHT. Grandmaster Chris for $9.99. Hail to the Gatekeepers Alliance. Looks like Snow White is going down in a blaze of glory. Call me Young Gun. Which comes first? The Rian Johnson trilogy or Gary's top 10 Doctor Who episodes? The Doctor Who episodes. That will come first. I promise you. Bastion72 for $10. Happy World Day Syndrome. What? Happy World Down Syndrome Day. I honestly have it.
Is that really today?
Happy Last of Us Day.
Yeah. To folks on FNT Hell 199. Yeah. What? Okay. Okay.
Have
so,
you seen the cover of the game with like it's the
Yes.
HBO version?
It's
so
funny because, like, I mean, she obviously looks like dog shit, but that was like a fan thing that wasn't like an official promotional material for Last of Us Season 2. It was tweeted by like a fan account, but everybody that went fucking viral, man, because she just looks so fucking ridiculous.
So you put up a tweet today, Ryan.
I did.
You did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Ryan
You
put
want
up
me
a
to pull it
tweet.
up?
Yeah. I mean, do we want to take away Sydney Sweeney? Well, I mean, it's for context. We'll bring her right back.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as you promise she comes
Yeah.
back.
Hey, if everybody can go retweet my most recent retweet of Krista's tweet about Drunk 3PO, because we want him to dress up as Jack Black as Minecraft.
Okay, whoa.
Steve
That is a
when we go.
lot of actions. Okay, a retweet.
Just go to my
tweet,
go
of
to my
Jay's
Twitter
tweet.
account. Just go to my Twitter account's most recent tweet. Retweet, or we just need that likes. We need. Jay said he'll do it for 5,000 likes on Krista's tweet. So, and he will dress up like Minecraft Steve to go see the Minecraft movie. We're going to record it and vlog it and everything, which basically means all he needs to do is put on a fucking blue T-shirt. That's pretty much all he needs to do.
He needs a fake beard.
All right, go ahead, Ryan, with your tweet.
I mean, I got it fucking pulled up.
Let's go. I just hate to bring down X-Ray Girl.
Yeah, that's a little different, huh?
Oh, sorry.
So this article came out yesterday, which Bella Ramsey got diagnosed with autism after a Last of Us crew member noticed the signs. It's liberating and freeing to know. What were the signs when you decided to go by they, them and call yourself non-binary? That should have been a fucking hint. But I don't understand like why this is being praised and why they're so thankful for this fucking crew member. I feel disrespected. Oh, sure. Crew member says it. They're a hero. I've been saying she looks a little retarded for years. I get called doctor.
I wonder why.
I ain't gonna lie. There's still work for those doctors to do. Like autism ain't all. Like there's something else, man. There's some chromosomal deficiency.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Poor girl.
Look at that.
There you go. Last of Us season 2.
What is the latest on this? Are they going to actually do the whole Abby killing Joel storyline or what?
I heard they're not going to.
No, they're 100% going to do it, but it's going to be stretched out over 2 seasons. And I think that they're going to mess around with the order of things and when they happen, because the game kind of does that, right? The game like has this and then it shows you background. I think they're going to do the background before that big culminating moment. And maybe that moment is at the end of season 2 or something.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
But it's going to happen.
That's going to be interesting when it gets to that point.
It will. Can't
What a
wait.
Fucking disaster. And hey, how about that Last of Us Part 3? Oh, wait, no.
Hey,
not
she's
happening.
Yeah.
We were
Oh,
told
no.
that Last of Us Part 2 was such a massive success and it was only these toxic YouTubers. And Neil Cuckman announced that at this point in time, there's not going to be a Last of Us Part 3. It's amazing.
Amazing.
Shocking.
Fuck Naughty Dog.
Fuck Naughty Dog and Sydney Sweeney, but for different reasons.
Yes.
We're all so distracted.
See, she could have played Abby, and I would have empathized with her a lot more.
yeah. That's true.
Fuck Joel.
I understand why you did what you did.
Fortune and
Two
glory.
compelling reasons.
The best comment in chat was somebody says she can fix me. So
I saw a comment in chat saying they're not gay anymore.
I'm not gay no more. Fortune and glory for $9.99. How come Kenneth Branagh was able to make such a genuinely great movie with Cinderella at current day Disney? No agendas or interference. Was it too soon for the woke era? Hasn't been top since.
It was 2013, 2014, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it's 2015 it came out, I think, so it just kind of missed it.
Yeah.
And
So
it's
they were
brilliant. It's one of my favorite films. Seriously. Such a good one. We're lucky we got it.
Yeah.
Then Disney.
He did a good job with Thor. I liked his Thor movie quite a bit. But yeah, it was 2015-16 when that stuff started getting real crazy. Campia's face pimple for 5 Canadian pesos. So Snow White was terrible? Yes. Not another dime, says Hail FNT. Mad Max 71 for $5 says, forget Snow White. Where can we get tickets to Yellow Snow and the 7 dumplings?
That's the one. That's the indie movie that X-Ray Girl's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Always great to see Drinker join the panel. Thanks for watching Thanks for watching Snow White, so we don't have to. Hail FNT and open bar. There you go. Says Gene the Revenant. I think we read that one, but let's read it twice. What the hell?
Drinker, I think you need to bounce, right?
You got to bounce?
Yeah, I'm kind of out of time, unfortunately.
Actually, we need to bounce too. So, Drinker, you bounce first. Thank you for being on. Tell the fine folks where they can find you, because I know you're an up-and-coming channel. Not too many people can find you in the algorithm very much. YouTube has really been suppressing you, so it's just a crime.
Sorry, were you asking me something? I was kind of distracted.
I can't remember
Yeah,
what
you
I
can
said.
find me right here on YouTube on the Critical Drinker channel. I also have a gaming channel called The Critical Gamer where you can watch me play Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's great.
Go. You guys play the Yasuke Simulator over there, man.
I really need to play that one. Yeah. You've sold me on it after that trailer.
When is your Snow White review coming out? Everybody wants to know. Just say that again.
That should be tomorrow evening. I reckon it'll be ready.
Which will be daytime for us in the real country, United States.
Yeah, I don't often release them at the weekend. I was going to have it done today, but I didn't get to see the movie until this afternoon, so there's just not been time.
Well, we look forward to it. Thank you for coming on, brother. I'll see you again soon.
Man.
Later,
Hail,
man.
the Critical
Always a pleasure.
Drinker. Let's keep Sydney up. Some applause for those tits.
It's a fine night.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up as well.
Go
We'll get the rest on the square up on Nerdrotic Live at Rumble, and we're on Rumble right now, and that's exactly where we're gonna go. So, thank you to the Modrotics. Thank you to everyone who left a super chat and donation. You help keep the lights on. Thank you for all your support. You guys are the best part of this show. You're actually the most funny and most literate, especially compared to me. So, until next time, what do we have? Who do we have next week?
Razor Fist.
Razor Fist is back next week. We could talk about Daredevil for fucking 4 hours. Let's go. Maybe some Conan. And if you want to continue watching, join us on Rumble. Do you know how to do this, X-Ray?
Yes.
Oh,
I do.
good.
All right.
Yay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Ciao.
See you.
And I'm going to bounce now. I'm going to go for Cobra Cast.
Cobra Cast.
You guys have a good night.
Hey.
And
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.